portion is closed. No other speakers will be heard. As a reminder, the speakers are to address your planning commission, not the applicant or the audience, and are expected to conduct themselves in an appropriate manner. The use of abusive or profane language shall not be allowed. No debate or argument between speakers shall be permitted. After all public comments have been heard, the planning commission may elect to hold general discussion. The planning commission will vote upon a recommendation that will continue forward to the City of Conyers City Council or the Rockdale County Board of Commissioners public hearings.
Thank you. Old business, none. New business, City of Conyers. Item C1, Case 4, 2023, Ordinance 1318, a request for text amendment to Section 87-44 GV Gateway Village District. This is to amend the table of permitted and special uses to clarify where drinking places may be established. The applicant is the City of Conyers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Planning Commission members, please bear with me. I hope everybody can hear me. So this item tonight is a direct reflection of a moratorium that the City Council passed last year for accepting special use permit applications, occupational tax registrations, and alcoholic beverage license applications for drinking places and nightclubs. The purpose of this moratorium was to give the City Council an opportunity to review these ordinances and clarify the areas where drinking places may be established. First item is within the Gateway Village District. The 3 sub-areas have been established to promote mixed-use development patterns within the Gateway Village. This text amendment is to update the table of permitted uses to remove the special use permit for drinking places in the Gateway Village District Neighborhood Village sub-area. The Neighborhood Village sub-area is intended for greater density of residential units with an emphasis on mixed-use buildings. The proposed amendment will ensure drinking places with approval of a special use permit to only be established in a more suitable sub-area, that is the Gateway Village Urban Village sub-area. Now, to remind you, a drinking place is a place of business that is authorized to sell alcoholic beverages for immediate consumption on premises. As you can see in the definition above you, it's rather lengthy. To save my voice and to save your pitiful ears from hearing my horrible voice, I won't read all of that. But what this does is remove drinking places from an application being submitted for the Neighborhood Village sub-area. Again, there are 3 sub-areas within the Gateway Village District. The Neighborhood Village is the area that's intended for higher density residential, lower density retail, and commercial uses. We feel that drinking places are inappropriate at these locations. Therefore, the text amendment would remove the opportunity for someone to apply to operate a drinking place in the Neighborhood Village sub-area. So, as you see on the screen there, what the proposed table of permitted uses would look like as compared to the current. It's just simply removing an S from a category. Staff has reviewed this, and staff believes this is the right move. As we go forward tonight, you'll hear of some of the other changes to drinking places and nightclubs that we're proposing. And as all these fit together, these may make sense to you guys as we move forward and try to get a more, I wouldn't say concrete lid on, but a more direct requirement or regulation on drinking places and nightclubs in the city. So at this time, staff does recommend approval of this text amendment to remove the opportunity for a special use permit in the Neighborhood Village District. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them at this time. If not, Mr. Chairman, I believe there may be 1 or 2 people that would like to speak either for or against this request.
Scott, I have a question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
I know you're trying to save your voice, and I hate doing this to you.
No, that's okay.
But right now, presently, are there any drinking places in the sub areas in the Gateway?
So we have one that was licensed years ago that's in the Urban Village sub area.
Okay,
It was licensed as a drinking place. It has since changed hands and is now a restaurant, but it could still be a drinking place should they want to, when they comply, if someone wanted to comply with all their other standards for drinking place. But there is the only one in that Gateway Village district.
and presently, they don't serve alcohol?
No, they serve alcohol.
Oh, they do.
But it is a restaurant
It's a
because they're
restaurant,
open.
okay, got
They're
it.
open to people under the age of 21.
Okay,
They serve a full menu of food.
okay.
But they do have entertainment from time to
So
time.
that one would just be grandfathered in, and there would not be others?
You got it. But there is no other drinking place in the neighborhood village sub-area.
Got it.
That location is in the urban village,
In the urban
where we would think that that's more appropriate. The urban village, remind you, is those areas that front Highway 138 and Georgia 20, those commercial businesses that front there. They're not in with the residential areas outside of that corridor.
Okay.
And that's where we want to prohibit
You want to
those.
keep them? Yes, got it.
But even those would, the urban village drinking place would require it. They're not automatically in. They have a special use permit
That's
requirement.
under the current ordinance, it would require that special use permit. What we're proposing to do is take it out altogether, where someone like yourself or like me maybe, who wants to open up a drinking place, if this ordinance passes, you wouldn't be allowed to apply for that.
Yeah, I'm sorry, in the urban village, it still requires
A special use. Yes, sir, that is correct.
All right.
And as you'll see, as we go through a few more text amendments tonight, there may be some other changes. Well, there are some other changes that we're proposing that may make this more amenable to people.
Okay. All right.
Make a note about that. You didn't mention it.
Yeah, one thing I failed to mention, a separate thing, about cell phones. If you have a cell phone, could you please put them on silent so we don't have any disruptions? Thank you. Is there any other questions for that? Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank
I
you.
think
And
we
as I
have 2 people signed up to,
I'm not sure if there's any signed up. I don't know if we received any cards for that. I was trying to fix a technical glitch that I created earlier. Did we receive any cards? Okay.
did we receive any?
I don't believe we have
No.
any cards to speak
Okay.
against this.
All right, okay, thank you. Don't go away, because we have, I'm just kidding. Item C2, case 5,
We gotta vote,
2020. Oh, we got to vote on it.
Right.
Yeah.
Mr.
Can I have a
Chairman.
motion?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve case number 4, 2023, ordinance 1318, item C1.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Second, okay. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed, motion passes. Okay, item C2, case number 5, 2023, ordinance 1320, a request for a text amendment to section 8792T, drinking places, to establish a distance requirement between drinking places and nightclubs. The applicant is City of Conyers.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman
David.
and Planning Commission members. Hang on a second.
You already sound better than Scott.
All right, currently, a drinking place is an identified use within the permitted use table in the Conyers zoning ordinance. However, it does require approval of a special use permit before the use can be established. As previously stated in the last item, we defined a drinking place. It's essentially a bar, cocktail lounge that's authorized to sell alcoholic beverages for on-premise consumption. Currently, drinking places have additional limitations, and those are that drinking places shall be located on streets classified as arterial or collector, and the gross floor area shall not exceed 4,000 square feet. The text amendment that we're proposing is to keep the remaining two requirements. However, we are wanting to add that no drinking place shall be established within 2,000 linear feet from another lawfully established drinking place or nightclub. The distance shall be measured in lineal feet and shall be in a straight line from the front customer entrance of the proposed location to the front customer entrance from which the distance is being measured. To ensure compliance, they would have to provide a site survey certified by a professional engineer, landscape architect, or land surveyor licensed in the state of Georgia to verify that they are adhering to the distance requirement. The city feels that, that's the definition of the drinking place. City staff believes that approving the text amendment will ensure that establishments such as drinking places and nightclubs are appropriately distanced and to fulfill the purpose of zoning to promote the public health, safety, morals, aesthetics, and general welfare of the residents, property owners, and businesses of the city.
Any questions?
First question is your name?
Raina.
Raina. Just an example, if it was a full-service restaurant, it would not be required to do the 2,000 feet?
No.
So if something wanted to open up across the street from an existing restaurant in Old Town and commercial, it wouldn't affect it?
No, so say for instance, you had, I'm gonna just use an example as like the Point. Correct me if I'm wrong, Scott. If another drinking place, such as someone similar like the Point that is primarily a bar, they may have food as an incidental thing to the bar, they would have to be 2,000 lineal feet from the existing location.
But it was a full restaurant?
That doesn't apply because they're not considered a bar or a drinking place, I'm sorry.
Okay. That was my question. Brandon, this is just for the neighborhood district, or this is everywhere?
This is everywhere.
So how does it seems like it would negatively impact downtown Conyers, Old Town?
So later on, we have another agenda item that will address the issue or clarify maybe your question with the downtown center zoning district.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. Is there anybody signed up to speak?
I don't think so. No, sir.
Okay, all right, thank you. We're now in discussion, or motions.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve item C2, case 5, 2023, ordinance 1320, a request for text amendment for section 8-7-92, drinking places.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item R3, Case 6, 2023, Ordinance 1319, a request for text amendment to Section 8792 SS nightclubs to establish a distance requirement between nightclubs and drinking places. Applicant, City of Conyers.
Okay, this one's kind of similar to the one that I just did. So currently, a nightclub is identified as a use within the table of permitted uses. However, it requires a special use permit prior to the use being established. Nightclubs are defined as a place of business that's authorized to supply live entertainment for the amusement needs of the general public, may exclude persons under 18 years of age, and where preparation and sale of food and/or alcoholic beverages may be incidental to the provision of such live entertainment. Nightclubs may also require a minimum charge or cover charge. Like I said, in addition to applying for a special use permit, there are supplemental use standards. Those are here. I know that's kind of small for you guys. Nightclubs shall be located on streets classified as arterial or collector. Nightclubs cannot be located on the same property as another. Gross floor area cannot exceed 4,000 square feet. There's a parking requirement of a minimum of 10 parking spaces for every 1,000 square feet of floor area. A minimum distance of 1,500 feet shall be required to separate a proposed nightclub from any residentially zoned district in the city and/or the county, and that we have 24-hour contact information for the owner, operators, or managers of such establishments. The text amendment that we are proposing is to keep those same 6 requirements that we already had, but to add that no nightclub shall be established within 2,000 linear feet from another nightclub or lawfully established drinking place. The minimum distance is measured in lineal feet and shall be in a straight line from the front customer entrance of the proposed location to the front customer entrance from which the distance is being measured. Again, the party proposing the nightclub would be required to provide us a site survey that is certified by a professional engineer, landscape architect, or land surveyor to make sure that it does meet that distance requirement of 2,000 linear feet. The city also feels that this text amendment would be in the best interest so that we can establish distances between nightclubs and drinking places, and so that we don't have infiltration of those establishments all in one area. If you have any questions, I'm
Any
more than happy.
questions?
Another question.
Okay.
I'm curious, I didn't know that the nightclub definition included 18. I thought it was 21.
Our definition is for 18 years of age. I know that some nightclub establishments will have like 18 years and over nights instead of like 21, and I don't think we currently have any nightclubs in the city at all. Not legally.
So you're saying a nightclub that serves alcohol can have 18-year-old and up to 21?
I think sometimes, depending on, they'll, wristband you, mark you with X, whatever it is, if,
Takes a minute for another day.
Just can't serve them alcohol, but they can come in.
Right, yes.
Well, that works well.
You got restaurants that, you can come in and sit down with mom and dad. Mom and dad can have a drink, but junior can't.
Mom and dad are not known
At the
at
A nightclub.
but okay.
That's another day.
That's something you might
That's interesting.
look into, if you're gonna have a nightclub, 21 and older. It's a nightclub. Otherwise, you run into the problem, having wristbands, not wristbands. They cut off the wristbands.
Fake IDs anyway.
Right. So
All of that works.
anyway, that's for another, just to consider. Any more questions on this ordinance? All right.
Anybody to
Well,
speak?
I don't think so.
Uh, Motions?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve item C3, case 6, 2023, ordinance 319, and request a text amendment for section 8792, nightclubs.
A second.
Second, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion approved. All right, we got case item C4.
He's back.
What's that?
He's back.
Okay. Case 7, 2023, ordinance 1317, request for a text amendment to section 87-41 downtown district to amend the table of permitted and special uses to clarify where drinking places may be established. The applicant is City of Conyers.
So, has anybody else heard the saying, 18 to party, 21 to drink? It's been a while. So, anyway, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a bookend of 4 text amendments that the city is bringing before you as a way to maybe prevent some activities that we don't want in our community that are related to alcohol. So as the 4th one, the downtown district, like the Gateway Village that I opened up with, has 3 sub-areas. downtown center, downtown edge, and downtown civic. So currently, the drinking place requires a special use permit prior to establishing in the downtown center sub-area of the downtown district. So right quick, that's a proposed and current look at the table of permitted uses. Proposed would add that little disclaimer at the bottom that says drinking places shall be restricted to properties located within the Conyers Entertainment District as established in Title IX, Chapter 1, Article N. The distance requirement established in Section 8792, subsection T, shall not apply. 8792T is the supplemental standards that you heard me talk about a couple presentations ago. So, Ms. White, you asked about, what about those uses in downtown? Wouldn't that hinder that? If this approval, or if this proposal is approved, it would remove the distance requirement within downtown. But wait a minute, I'm going to throw in something else on you. What's this entertainment district? Don't worry, the entertainment district is not a specific zoning district. I'll talk about that in a moment. What I'm going to show you is the zoning map of downtown. All the red you see, not the purple, not the beige, but the red, is downtown center. Now you'll see that downtown center is not just in the core of Old Town. It sprawls out a little bit. So that makes sense of why we want to, hold on, I'm going to trick your eyes, why we want to put a limitation on where drinking places can establish in downtown center to only those areas in the entertainment district. So all those red areas, they kind of go around to some of those residential. We don't believe drinking places belong right there next to residential. So with that said, we're going to introduce the entertainment district. Now the entertainment, again, is not a zoning district that you guys have to learn. Don't worry, we ask you to learn enough already. The entertainment district is the economic development tool placed by the city council that establishes a boundary for those economic entertainment venues that would allow people, I say people, patrons of restaurants that have a specific cup that identifies that as this cup belongs to a restaurant inside this special district. They can take that alcoholic beverage outside of that establishment and wander around from place to place inside that district only. So think of it as a fenced off area, but the fence is invisible. So where's the district? Well, right now, it's kind of hard to see with that blue background. Right now, that district is right there, bound by Railroad Street, Elm Street, Main Street. So it makes that little wedge. So in full disclosure, the city council, which does not require a public hearing, they are discussing amongst themselves to expand the entertainment district. I see your eyes go up. That's all it expanded to. So one street over from Elm Street to include the city lot. So that's what it is currently. That's what they are proposing and discussed amongst themselves at their retreat, potentially expanding it that way. But that's not what we're here for tonight. We're here to hear the text amendment on, is the proposal to further restrict drinking places in the downtown center district to those places only allowed in the entertainment district, is that appropriate? Now, if this is approved in the entertainment district, expansion is not by the council at a later time, then that's where drinking places could only establish in the blue, only without, or only after a special use permit. So, if this text amendment is approved by city council, if someone were to apply to establish in downtown center in an area of blue, it'd come before you as a planning commission to hear their case, to weigh the pros and cons. You would make a recommendation, the city council would hear that case, hear your recommendation, and then make a decision. So that is this text amendment in a nutshell, and like the other 3 text amendments that were before you tonight, city staff believes that this is in the best interest of the city to protect the health, safety, and morals of our residents, property owners, and businesses.
Scott?
Yes, ma'am.
I know we're trying to attract other businesses.
Yes, ma'am.
Presently, is there anything in that little blue strip area now, that in that entertainment area district?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what's in there now?
The only other drinking place in the city, the Point. So that is in the entertainment district.
Okay,
And currently, if the Point and Celtic Tavern and any other restaurant in Old Town that has a alcohol license, they wanted to take advantage of the entertainment district, they could get those cups and their patrons can walk from one location to another
in there.
within the definition of the entertainment district. Now
Right.
again, that entertainment district was established by City Council in 2019 to help draw an economic, I guess to help kickstart an economic renaissance, if you will, in Old Town.
so it looks like this is a pretty large area. How large would you guesstimate that to be?
Not large, not large at
It's
all.
not large.
No, ma'am. It's literally from Elm Street to the dangerous 6-way railroad stop. Just that little wedge.
Oh.
It's not very big.
So if there's only one business in there now, there's not like a lot of space for other businesses to come.
Well, and that's the idea,
Okay.
is if we're going to get drinking places, or for lack of a better term, for those of you that are like me, drinking places is a term that just means a bar.
Yeah,
They may serve food, they don't have to. If another bar wanted to come into Old Town, we want them in this district in Old Town. We don't want them going on the fringe areas near residential traffic, near residential homes, because bars sometimes stay open late and the patrons can get noisy.
right. I get that part. I think my question is more like, if you're gonna have 3 bars in a small area, who's gonna make money? I guess that was more my point.
Well, that's a business decision.
Yeah.
And if you've got good drinks and cheap prices, you're gonna have a lot of patrons. If you got bad drinks and high prices, I'm not coming to visit you.
Is the, I know this is not part of the text amendment, just, but since you brought, is the city considering that expansion of the entertainment district to allow for other places to become
Right.
drinking, right?
Right. If there's an opportunity outside of this that makes sense within that district, then someone can apply for a special use permit if that district is expanded.
In that expansion, if they move over Main Street, it would encompass 2 restaurants that are already in place. Tres Hermanos and the Thai Palace.
Yep.
Both serve alcohol, but they are restaurants. They would be included in the new expansion, correct, Scott?
That is, so, thank you, Mr. Harrison, for bringing that up. Yes, those 2 restaurants currently, their patrons can't take their drinks outside and walk across the street.
Right.
But if the city council, and again, this is not for our discussion.
Yeah.
This is
Right.
just full transparency.
Right, right.
If those patrons, if the district is expanded to that manner, yes, sir, like Mr. Harrison pointed out, those 2 restaurants could then take advantage, and those patrons could enjoy the opportunity, like on a night like this, where it's nice, to maybe go across to Celtic Tavern. And the idea is to give businesses within the Old Town area that economic advantage that cities around us have taken advantage of and allowed those types of socialized areas.
One thing the entertainment district does, for your benefit, is sometimes on weekends during the summer, they will close off 2 of the streets, or just maybe close off Commercial Street and put a band and move tables out into the center, and makes an interesting place to come and a place to
Right.
be entertained. So that's the whole idea of the entertainment district, correct?
Absolutely.
That's why I was asking about size.
Yes,
But
ma'am.
yeah, that makes sense.
That would
It's
expand
not
that.
real big now.
Yeah,
If it expands, it's only growing a little bit. if it expands. I don't know if it will or not.
Yeah, got it.
Shame on you for not going to Old Town.
She will now.
Scott's gonna have drinks over there.
That's right.
Out of curiosity,
Yes, ma'am.
is this being well publicized as far as what the parameters are, as well as to know that it's there? I'm just curious.
I wish I could tell you yes or no. Again, this is the expansion of the district is something I know the city council has been discussing at their annual retreat. I don't know if or when they will, but if they do, this is the manner in which they're looking at it.
We won't see that, though. That's just
No,
the city council.
That's correct. I brought it to you because that could, to get better explain the text amendment, because y'all asked me, well, Scott, if a drinking place can only go in like 4 or 5 places, why are we even looking at this?
Yeah.
Well, because I know there is discussion to expand. Instead of 4 or 5, it might be 6 or 8.
Right.
That's good.
Thank you.
Again,
We're
as
not
far
voting it,
as,
right.
as far as the text amendments that this one here and the ones before you earlier, yes, ma'am, they've been advertised on the city website. They've been advertised in the newspaper. We're following all the zoning procedures requirements for advertisement and public notice.
Any more questions? Well, anybody signed up to speak?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right. Then we're
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve item C4, case 7, 2023, ordinance 1317, a request for a text amendment to section 8-7-41 downtown district.
Second.
Motion approved. Second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Blake.
Thank you.
Go rest your voice.
Okay. All right, as we talked about earlier, item 1 has been removed from the agenda, so we're going to item 2. This is 375, 385, and 460 West Hightower Trail. Special use permit case number 2023-02. A request for a special use permit to allow for the operation of a rodeo outdoor recreation facility. The parcels are 053-001-0089, 053-001-071B, 053-001-0071, 053-001-0126. The size is 86.05 acres. The applicant is Brandon Cabrera and Fidel Cabrera.
Commissioners, how are you guys doing today this evening?
Fine, thank you. How are you?
Y'all ready for the main event? Yes. Let's go. The applicant is requesting a special use permit for a rodeo, again, at the subject properties of 375, 385, and 460 West Hightower Lane, Hightower Trail. The applicants are Brandon Cabrera and Fidel Cabrera. The applicant is looking for specific for the operation of a rodeo at this subject site. Before you is just an aerial photo of the concept plan that the applicant submitted to staff. As you can see highlighted, they have in their packet, they have indicated that for the rodeo, they are intended to have parking along the western side of the property, as well as having the actual event of the rodeo further to the east of the subject property. I would like to point out that the applicant has operated a rodeo on the subject property previously, for the past 2 years of this date. They've had 5 rodeos. They have been granted a special event permit for the operation of the rodeo. So the applicant is looking to have more events at this location, approximately 8 rodeos for the calendar year. Again, the project summary again is to state that again the applicant is planning on having a rodeo. Some of the points of interest again is they plan on having a single dumpster on the corner of the northwestern site. They do plan on building an accessory structure, a total of 42,000 square feet. Now it is unheated as it's going to be a cover. The maximum the height is going to be 63 feet, as well as they plan on doing grass parking area. it's a cover, as well as they propose to do a single driveway access onto High Tower Lane. Some of the key issues that staff wanted to make a point of, as currently as stated, for this type of event, they do not have the current infrastructure to support it. So we do list those infrastructure requirements in our conditions. There is no principal structure on the site. The proposed location may encroach into the WP, but we want to make sure we do not encroach into that. Again, that's listed into the conditions approval. And then again, as we talked about, the building for the building for the main structure will be at the minimum of 35 feet. The actual main building that the applicant will have to adhere to. Again, so the current zoning for the subject property, again, is a split zoning. For half of it is in the WP, the other part is in the regular Rockdale County zoning, which is agricultural. So I want to make it clear that agricultural does allow for outdoor recreation via approval of a special use permit. So again, that's why the applicant is here, asking a special use permit for outdoor recreation. Again, the stars indicate that where the activity will be will take place. So just again, for some development standards, again, for the AGR, again, the applicant is meeting the minimum lot size as well as the front yard setback and the side yard setback, the rear yard setback. They did not indicate the minimum yard setback, so that's why we have it highlighted no, as well as the building height, as well as the heated floor area as well. As we mentioned, that the applicant is proposing an accessory structure because accessory structures are covered, but they're not closed off. So the applicant will have to do a closed building for it to be considered a primary structure. Just a few other things, again, the parking, again, as indicated, the applicant will have to adhere to our parking regulations, as well as handicap parking too. So with each application, staff has provided staff analysis of all our applications. Each application in each package should have our staff analysis. Staff did recommend approval of a list of 27 conditions for the site. We can read it into the record as well to make it easier if you choose to, or if you want me not to. You want me to read it? No. Oh, all right. Okay.
Is there
Well, I guess I do want to point out a few things of conditions that we do recommend for approval. We do recommend a noise study to be submitted to the department for approval. If there is going to be listed planned events, they have to send out mailing notifications to the surrounding community to inform them. If there is any change in a future date, they have to send out another notification as well to the surrounding community to let them inform them about that. The applicant has to submit a traffic control plan to the department to review and improve as well. The applicant the applicant has to supply a 100-foot buffer adjoining all residential properties. The applicant's outdoor activities will be limited to 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. So this is just a few of the criteria that we have listed as a condition of approval.
Are you done?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The other events that he had with the special permit.
Yes, ma'am.
Were there concerns from the residents that live in the area?
So as to date,
Do
we
know?
have not received any concern. We did not receive any complaints or any concerns about his past events. Nobody from our department has reached out to our department, code enforcement specifically, or we haven't received anything of any complaints of this nature.
So, do you know if they met with the neighbors?
The applicant said he did reach out to the neighbors and they were support of his application.
They were in support?
Yes, ma'am. That was told to us. Yes, ma'am.
Well, we could say, I know people are.
Oh,
we
well,
signed
yeah,
up.
yeah.
They made we may have some, we'll see, sign up to speak.
You can't hear? Oh, okay, sorry. My question was, had he reached out to the neighbors, and in the previous events that he had...
Okay, well, we're gonna, please, okay.
We'll get there.
All right, we'll get there when you come up to sign up to speak, okay?
And I was,
Thank you.
I was asking him also, the second question was, had there been any prior neighbor concerns in the previous events that had occurred? So those were, I'm sorry that you couldn't hear me.
So I just
You're
want to
welcome.
reiterate from the county's perspective, the planning department, we have not received any complaints or any
Yes.
concerns besides
Got it.
besides the application to this day.
Got it.
But for prior events, we have not received anything.
Okay.
Will animals be housed on a daily basis there, or is it just for special?
No, it's just a
uses?
one-day event thing. Just a one-day event. The event starts that day, and then it ends that day as well. So it's not an oncurring, multiple-day event. It's just a one-day event.
It's got to be a permanent structure on site.
Well, yes, according to our code, it has to be a permanent structure on site. For a main permanent building has to be on site as part of our code.
You showed that there were some grassed ADA parking spaces.
No, that's what we're saying. You have to adhere to the ADA parking. He's saying that there'll be grass parking. We're saying even so, you still have to adhere to ADA parking regulations of our
You
code.
have grass
Yeah.
ADA parking.
Yeah.
The other thing, though, if we approve this, there would be multiple events. It would maybe one day, but there would be events like maybe every week, or 2 or 3 times a week, or?
No. So we're limited to 8 times a year. So
8 times a year.
8 times a year. No, in the code.
Okay, okay.
Right. Well,
Okay, you want to talk to the?
I could save it to later in terms of the zoning and development standards that you have that they don't. You mentioned minimum lot size, but it doesn't, well, I think in true transparency, everybody should know, just so they'll know when we get up to speak, that right now, the maximum lot size is 20 acres, which it doesn't meet. But the Board of Commissioners, just so everybody knows transparent, has had a first reading of a text amendment to allow up to 120 acres for amusement park. Just, you know, that has not been passed, that has not come to us, but that is in the pipeline, just so you'll know, in case you don't. Is that correct?
No, sir. That the first reading's already happened. That you're considering
Right,
tonight.
that's right.
Right, first
Yeah.
reading was yesterday.
Yeah, first reading was yesterday. Yes, and it's on your packet
No,
tonight.
I'm talking about the text amendment.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay, for the 120 acres.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay.
And the applicant is here too, if you have any questions for them as well.
I'm just curious as to why the text amendment to change it from 20 acres to 120 acres came about before the first reading from the BOC and the first reading in our reading tonight.
I'm sorry. I'm confused of what you're referring
It's
to.
awful
now.
coincident, so this text amendment was done I should have said, in relation to this application.
That's coincidence that it happened that
Right,
way.
It's not a coincidence.
It's not a coincidence.
Okay, yeah.
I-
It
But
almost
anyway.
seems like it was done in isolation and not this.
Exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess the point, the applicant has spoken to the county since all the way since last year. So I want you to please understand that it's not something to have to say, no, the applicant has been reaching out to the county since last year, since I actually started. And there's been ongoing conversation. So I want to be clear, like that's not just something that, if there's been an ongoing conversation about that as well
Are you saying
as far as that.
County employees have been out and visited the site?
Yes, sir, we do site visits for every application that we receive.
Do you know who all went out to visit?
While we went out to visit, it was just myself and then staff as well. We do site visits.
That's all that went out to visit the site?
Yes, sir, when we do site visits, yes, sir.
Do you know what the impact for this particular rodeo site is to the current horse park?
To the impact? No, ma'am. I can find out. I don't know the impact as far as, I guess, overall impact for that.
Has it been indicated to you at all as to why the horse park is not an option for an event like this?
No, sir, you have to.
You could ask,
You have, no, sir, no, it hasn't indicated to me. You'll have to ask the applicant about
Okay.
that. I think it is a design specifically, well, let me not speak on his behalf. Like I said, I'll let him be able to explain.
All right, well, why don't we, at this time, we'll have the applicant, maybe can answer some questions that you may have. Good afternoon. Hello?
Where we just submitted a,
bring the
request for a
mic down a little bit closer to
Yeah,
you.
we just submitted
Well,
that.
let me,
Sure.
before you start, how many people do we have signed up?
On both sides?
About 15. Okay, so what I'm going to do, and I wanted to let you know before you start talking, which we've done before, we're going to extend it to giving you not 10 minutes, but 20 minutes. You know, that's total with rebuttal, which would give the people that are speaking also a total of 20 minutes, because there's a lot of people here to speak. So, Okay.
Well, pretty much,
Sorry.
We just want to thank everybody who came here, this hearing.
In your name?
My name is Eduardo, and his name is Brandon. Yeah. And pretty much we just made this, because we were very excited, bringing, a new entertainment to the city of Conyers and to Rockdale. And,
They're saying they can't hear you, sir. You might want to, yes.
you cannot hear me? Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, we are, very excited that we're coming here to the city of Conyers and Rockdale and trying to submit this special permit request for the special use. I guess venture was very excited on trying to grow with the county, with the community. Obviously, we want to be a part of them, and we pretty much appreciate that they came here today. I know we have been doing this for quite a few time, and here in the city of Conyers, we did it one time last year, and I guess it was pretty successful, and it's pretty much an entertainment for the local people here as well as people coming from other states, and I guess we're just trying to support the community and hopefully get the support of the people to get a new option for entertainment here in the city of Conyers. So I don't know if you have any questions, specific questions.
I have a question.
Sure.
Usually you say the name and then where you live. Do you happen to reside in the city of Conyers?
Yeah, the owner pretty much owns the property. He resides in Conyers, and everything started pretty much like with family, neighbors. I mean, obviously not all the neighbors, but some of the neighbors that pretty much have known the owner of the property. They know that he's pretty friendly and everything. So everything came out that why not having something that we can share with the whole neighbors. And that's why, came out the idea of bringing this entertainment here in pretty much on his property. Again, every project is always going to have supporters, maybe some that are not supportive. But again, we're here just to, see if we can work out something with the neighbors and make sure that we comply with whatever they need,
And two more questions.
Sure.
And have you had a meeting with the community just to kind of discuss what your ideas are?
No, and actually this is a good opportunity. I mean, we pretty much have got together with a lot of the neighbors, obviously not all the neighbors again, but we're here to get to know them. Obviously they can get to know the owner, and hopefully, they embrace a change, and also something that we believe it will help the economy of Rockdale. Obviously, businesses that come and put the eyes on the county, if it's a good business, it's going to help the community. Now, the owner, he's very supportive as far as local charities, and he's open, to work with anybody who wants to really pretty much team up with him.
And the last thing, do you have a relationship with the horse park? Since High Tower Trail is over there, I was just curious.
If we have any, I'm sorry, I didn't hear?
If you have a relationship with businesses at the horse park, anything?
We know a lot of people, yeah, we know a lot of people who have, horse bars and all that, yeah.
Do you know if has the owner ever attempted to have an event at the International Horse Park?
No, right? No, not intentional.
Is the owner here tonight?
Yes.
That was my question.
Do you have, on March 3rd, this Saturday,
Yes.
you have an event there, is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we applied for that permit,
Okay,
yes.
just a chance for people to go out and see, what it's like.
Sure.
Although it's $80 admission, so that.
Well,
on the outside. But no, that's, you charge what you charge, that's your business.
Yeah, and just so I can say that, obviously, we don't know all the neighbors, but there's a few neighbors here that live near the property, and the owner attempted to give free tickets to all the neighbors so they can come and join and see, what obviously, again, we don't know everybody, but hopefully, if they're open to meet, the owner today, they'll get some free tickets. So they can understand,
how many times, so if you get the approved, how many times per year, there was some question in terms of how many times per year do you plan to have the rodeos?
Well, we were planning, pretty much as an venture, hopefully everything goes well, maybe, I don't know, once a month, I don't know, twice a month.
Okay.
It depends,
Okay. And is there alcohol served?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So do you have to get an alcohol license?
Yes,
for
sir,
that?
we will, yes.
Okay. Currently, you're not serving alcohol?
Yes, we did, sir, yes.
Okay. So you have an alcohol license?
Yes, we have a restaurant that has.
Okay.
Something is that through the special event permit, they can have a person, a nonprofit sponsor them for them to serve alcohol. They
Right.
themselves cannot bring it onto site. That the vendor has to do it and so forth. The vendor has to bring the alcohol on the site, not the actual applicant, because they do not have an alcohol license currently right now with the county, so.
So what, if this is approved, would that be the same regulation? That they
Yes,
can
or
have-
they'll have to apply for themselves to have their own alcohol permit.
Or they can have a vendor
For
that's
each
licensed?
event?
For each event, no, they would have to get an alcohol license so they can serve alcohol, but, so right now, they have a vendor that actually serves the alcohol as part of the special event permit.
You mentioned charities. Do you know what charities they've supported in the area?
Yes, we support one of the charities from the local law enforcement, the sheriff department, which is called SAL, and this is for some of the young kids to keep them out of the street. And we're working with some other charities that hopefully we can help.
At your previous event and the one you're going to have this weekend, is there a equine veterinarian on property?
No, not a veterinarian. We have an emergency crew that's going to be there, but not a veterinarian.
Isn't that customary for rodeos to have an on-site vet?
Some they do, some don't. If that's a requirement, we'll definitely get somebody. Yes, if that's a requirement, we're here to try to comply with everything. We want to do it the right way, and whatever is a requirement, we'll go for it.
What
Yes.
about the liability insurance?
Yes, we have that attorney working on that.
Do you know what kind of liability insurance you would cover?
Well, again, it's a new venture. We're trying to see what are the requirements, and we'll go for that.
But you don't have to have that insurance for that special permit?
No, not that we know.
Chris?
Chris, does a special event require?
What, special event?
Insurance.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, so for them, liability insurance would not apply to the special use permit. It does for the special event permit.
Does not have to have insurance for a special event,
Not for the special use. It does for the special event.
but not for the special use? What they're going for?
Not currently, no.
That sounds like backwards.
That's the current code as is right now. So.
You mentioned that 1,000 people coming. How many people have been coming to the events you've already had?
It was probably around 2,000. Yeah.
On your last event?
Yes, sir.
How many tickets have you sold Saturday night?
Saturday night, probably like 1,500 or something like that. Yeah.
And where are they coming from?
All over the place.
All
Some-
over.
yes,
All
all
over
over.
the
Some people come
States.
even from Arizona. Some come from.
So your people that are performing are coming from outside of the state
Yes,
too?
yes.
Okay,
They're coming
so-
from. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They come
Oh.
from many places. Yes.
Now,
Okay.
Chris mentioned a sound study that would be required.
Okay.
Or have you had any kind of notation as to how many decibels that you incur now with your current events?
No, sir. We don't. We have not. Again, this property is a pretty large property, and it's pretty much the main event is done way at the back of the property, and but we have not added to
Well,
that.
I'll let the please.
Are you upgrading the sound system for what you're?
Yeah,
so that it's gonna
again,
be-
if there's a requirement, we'll go for whatever
No, I
requirement is.
mean, is it going to be, if you get this, are you making the sound louder? Are you upgrading the sound system?
No, sir. No.
Well, just on my own for clarity, I saw the 65 decibels
Yes.
that were mentioned in the possible text or any possible amendment. But there are rodeos around the country that put out a whole lot more decibels than 65. I'll let the people that are going to speak tell us how much they can hear from the previous event, and I think that would attest to that. Personally, I'm more concerned about the environmental impact.
Okay.
The property butts up to the watershed in one section, not the part that you're going to put the rodeo on,
Okay.
but part of your property in total
Okay.
butts up against our watershed.
Okay.
And the concern that I've got is there's no indication that you're going to have a holding pond on the property. You get, I don't know, how many horses and bulls and cattle and calves, how many are on property during any single event?
Normally we're planning to have maybe 10 to 15 or 20 bulls, and it will be just one time they come in on the trailer, they come out and they put back on the trailer again. So they're not going to be like
They don't hold it in. They're going to let it loose somewhere. And it's going to be on your property, and it's not going to be just the bulls. You got the horses, you got the cows and the calves for calf roping. There's a lot of manure that's going to be involved in this, and I'm concerned without a holding pond that you're going to get runoff into our stream barriers and possibly into our watershed. So
we have metal barriers. We have metal barriers, and we are very concerned about the safety. And obviously, when you don't see firsthand how it looks, it's pretty hard to put it up to picture it. Because the first thing you see is bulls going everywhere, or cows going everywhere, or horses going everywhere. But when you go out to the actual event and you see the safety that we put in place, then that's when you understand, how we handle the safety, because safety is a priority. We don't want nobody to get hurt.
Safety is one thing. I'm assuming you'll have a safety team on property.
Yes.
My concern is the environment. On your last, go ahead.
Just to point out, condition 26, the applicant still has to go through the development review process when it comes to anything that the applicant does when it comes to the rodeo. So I just want to be clear on that. So
that could include a holding pond and
yes,
runoff
all
and all
those,
that.
all
Okay.
those requirements, they
All
still
right.
have to go through it. I just want to be clear that just because it may be approved for a special use permit, we still have conditions on there to try to mitigate any negative impact on the area.
Okay.
So I just want to be clear. That's why we have 26 conditions on there. So again, we're cognizant. Staff is cognizant of the water protection district. So that's why we're painstakingly making it clear they have to adhere to all 26 conditions, and then they have to go through the review process, which again is water resources.
You said item 26?
26, yes.
I
27.
think
I'm sorry,
27.
27. I
26 involves peddlers and parking lot
Oh,
sales.
yeah, well, 27, I apologize, is on when I say. So I just want to be clear about that, so.
Well, related to that, you're going to have for waste, you're going to have septic system.
We will apply for that. We're obviously, if everything goes well and we get everything approved, that will be the next step. Having a permanent septic system to comply with the environment and all that. Yeah, and we'll go based on whatever requirements are. Again, I say this again. We want to make sure that we comply with any requirements. We want to make sure that it's a place where people can go and have a good time, and it's always good to do it the right way. So that's all I can say.
I understand that, and I read the part in your business plan where the owner has been around horses and cows all his life, and he wanted to have a facility that he could do this in.
Sure.
Why not just have a nice horse farm and use our existing international park for a rodeo? That's one thing I'm having a hard time understanding.
Well, I guess it's like every I guess business. When you embrace businesses coming to your county, obviously this will help the economy of the county. The less businesses you restrict to have in a community or in a city, obviously the growth will go slower.
Yeah.
So this is, as you said, it's like I'm saying. Obviously, I understand the concern of every citizen, but also this will be, at the end of the road, will be for for the county and for the road economy will be very helpful, so.
Yeah, they come in and go out, they're in and out in 24 hours. How's that going to help the economy? Other than the owner's pocket? I'm sorry, this just doesn't make any sense to me. Chris, you got something you want to say? You're looking a little nervous over there.
I ain't got enough room right there.
Okay.
So again, I just want to also indicate as well as far as we highlighted some other parcels in the site plan. So condition 18 states that the applicant must provide a detailed plan for events intended for parcels 05300100089, 05300100126, and 053001071B in the form of an application for a special use permit to be reviewed and approved in accordance with section 238-6 before any related recreational activities can be permitted to occur on these sites. So right now, you're considered just a large parcel, but any of the other ones, they still have to come back again for another special permit for any other recreational activities.
All right. This may be a question of Chris, and it can relate to what Mr. Cabrera is mentioning. The idea of doing this in this location, I mentioned earlier the watershed protection. If you look at our current future land use map, which is being reviewed, the entire north end part of our county is under the watershed. The next section below that is recommended for medium-density residential. It doesn't say anything in there at all in the medium-density residential or the watershed that would allow for commercial activity like this. Medium-density residential in the land use map narrative that we're currently using says this area is appropriate for single-family detached residential dwellings with 1 or 2 units per acre. That doesn't include the rodeo in my book, I'm sorry. Somebody else come up with another question before I get another one in my mind.
You're on a roll.
I know it. It's just, I love the idea of having a rodeo, but I think it should be at our horse park, and let this be a fantastic horse ranch. That would be a beautiful addition to the northern part of the county. If he brought in Pasofino horses or Morgans or something and had a wonderful horse ranch, allow for riding to teach young kids about horses. I just don't think that this property, I know that's what he wants and that's his passion, but this is my backyard, and the old saying, not in my backyard. Please understand where I'm from.
No, and we totally agree, understand that. And let me just say this so that you get to know a little bit more about the owner. As you were saying, nobody's going to be pocketing, so much money as you said, because honestly, the owner this is not his primary way of making a living. This is pretty much he wanted it to have something that he could share with with people, with neighbors, and just have a good time. Again, he's not into the business of making money for rodeos, but his primary intention was just to, get to know everybody around and invite them and have a good time, with their families on weekends. Because, right now, if you really want to have a nice day, with the family, you will have to travel, to go on an event somewhere, maybe 1 or 2, 3 hours from here. So all he was trying to do was that. Again, he's...
There are horse events at the horse park almost every weekend. From all over the country, almost every weekend.
But
my suggestion, and only just a suggestion, and that's all we do up here, is approve with conditions or suggestions. My suggestion would be to have a fantastic horse ranch, and maybe have a rodeo once a year, an annual event that could be special permitted. If he's not into it for the profit, he can make more money off horses than he could rodeos. So, and you say the owner's here tonight?
Yes.
Can we see him?
Sure, he's right here.
I'm one of the owners. I'm actually Brandon Cabrera.
And your name?
Brandon Cabrera.
Brandon.
Yes, sir.
And who's the other owner?
My father.
Your father. And is he here tonight?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Eduardo, for talking. Yeah, just like Eduardo said, it's not really intentionally just business only. I mean, we've been in the community for many years. I see many neighbors that I do know here. It's just a great way to kind of get together with the community, enjoy the rodeo. I know you mentioned what the rodeo. I can already see that you assumed it would have cattle and different type of animals. This one's just straight bulls, and people can bring horses on the ranch as well to ride along. In sectioned areas, we keep the horses away from the standing people.
I know these must be special bulls because I noticed that the poster that you've got for this weekend,
Yes, sir.
they've all got names. And
it's-
agents, I'm assuming too. So
Of course, yes.
I found that interesting. But does your dad want to speak at all, or
He
can you
might say a
translate?
few
I mean,
words.
is there
I can say a few
language?
words.
Is there a language problem or today?
No, he speaks some English as well. Yes, sir.
Ask him to come forward.
and yeah.
Mr. Cabrera, please.
Yes, sir. Yeah, and like the most recent one was a year ago. Great turnout. I again saw lots of neighbors, lots of people coming from different areas within Georgia. I've been to other events in Georgia. Like I know Athens hosts one with another group of people that come and do one at the Athens County Fairgrounds, and that's where I kind of got into the idea with Eduardo and my dad to.
Have you been to an event at the horse park?
I'll be honest, I have not. I've been to the horse park but not for like a horse event. Been to different tracks for horse racing and
I
stuff
would
like
invite
that.
you to.
Yes,
to-
sir.
I don't know which horse event they had this weekend, but
Yeah.
I would invite you to go see what they've got to offer. That is,
No, that's great. No,
the Charles Walker Arena is
This sounds-
a wonderful area
that
for
sounds interesting. Yeah,
it could be
and-
for rodeo.
Yeah. And the same. Then I carry on the invitation to you guys for this event that's coming on this weekend. It shouldn't be. I mean, it's not going to be 3, 4, 5,000 people. Not at all. The music does end semi early. I mean, I don't see it ending past 10. I don't think so. We try to be conscious as well, and it is the weekend. But
I think, the requirements are 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock. Okay, yeah. So I mean, I know they abide by that.
Is this more about the music and the entertainment than it is the bulls?
It's the bulls. It's part of the entertainment with a little bit of music all together. We have bands come in and play live music as the bulls are being ridden. People riding the horses in their sectioned areas. People come in, just have a good time with their family. It's all family friendly. Kids under 12 enter free as well. So it's, I mean, all that kind of stuff. Other events, like I said, I've been to, they charge parking. I told my dad, there's no way we're going to charge parking. That doesn't make any sense. But yeah, I think, and we partnered with the Sheriff's Department for a bit of security and extra security. So that's all included as well.
Is this your only rodeo? This is Rancho 2.
Oh, that's just, it's Ranch 2 Diamonds. So it's 2 Diamond Ranch.
Just the name.
Yeah, that's just the name.
Ask
Yeah.
this question. So,
Of course.
if you can get a special permit to do this on occasion,
Mm-hmm.
why are you trying to get it rezoned to consistently do it? If it's and there are so many.
Not rezone,
I guess-
not rezone, special use permit.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, thank you. Yeah, a special use permit to, to do it on occasion, and this is not what you're trying to do all the time. Why are you trying to get?
Yeah, because there's only, I guess, the county only allows for 2 special permits during the year per property, and that's why we were, hoping that we could get a little more than 2 times a year. Again, the county says only 2 per year.
Where did your security come from last week? Last
From,
time you had it?
yeah, we are very concerned about this, so we do with the county sheriff department.
Strictly.
Yeah, so we want to make sure this is done right. We want to make sure that this is an opportunity for the county sheriff department to interact with the people and to get their confidence back to them. As we have seen, sometimes that's kind of hard to do. But this is a good opportunity so that they can get together with the citizens and with the people.
You mentioned the BOC. Has anybody from the BOC been out to visit the site?
Yes, sir.
Who came out?
I'm sorry, I can't remember the name right now.
Well, it's 2 women and a man. Was it a woman or a man?
Amen.
All right, then it was the chairman.
Mr. Oz Nesbitt?
Osmond,
Senior?
yes.
Junior or senior? Yeah, senior.
Yes,
Chairman.
What was the occasion of his visit?
I'm sorry?
What was the occasion of his visit? Just to see the site?
That's when to see the site. Which we've been coming and asking, everybody. We wanted to come and join and see the grounds so that way they can picture better, when we're applying for the permits, we invite them to come and see because they have to inspect the property, to approve the permits. So that's what they did. Yeah.
Did he have an opinion?
I'm sorry?
Did he have an opinion?
No, I mean, he didn't say anything. He just said that he was.
He liked the property and kind of explained to him more than anything what we were about and what the previous event was about and all that stuff. But I'm maybe not a specific like yay or nay, I would say.
All right, well, now, the traffic study that's going to have to be done, you do understand that might call for some major road work, because those
cool
roads are narrow out there.
Yeah, I'll be honest. The cool thing, we actually had like separate, because the property is pretty wide. We had separate entrances. There was 3, and there was an emergency entrance, and none of them ever got backed up. We actually people just came in from one, so it's kind of cool because there's not really a start time. Since this is kind of a family all day event, people come in throughout the day. So there was never a time where there was just like a line of people on the road on Hightower Trail. So thankfully there was never a backup, and we have some of the sheriff's deputies on the road. So that was.
Now the horse park arena is sprinkled. It's got a sprinkler system. Would your arena have a sprinkler system in it?
It might just be me spraying some water, but I mean, it's a really small. No, the arena.
I don't think you can
right now. There's just
20 bales of hay from going up.
No. Right now, there's just the circle for the rodeo.
So the answer to the arena being sprinkled is no. Is that
if there was
correct?
an arena, then we'd have to do that. But there's no arena. There's no building.
It's covered already, isn't it?
No, that was a proposed. That was a proposed plan.
No.
That was proposed.
It's an outdoor.
It's outdoors. It's not covered.
It's not covered.
No, it's not covered. No, that was just a proposal.
The stalls are covered.
No.
No? Okay.
It's
I
just
misunderstood what this roof was for then.
I'm sorry. What stalls do you ask?
The Renegade Steel buildings that were on this,
That's not built or anything.
No, that's just a proposal that in the future, if everything goes well, we'll put that to cover so that people can, from inclement weathers, they can be covered. But right now, there's
For any
nothing there.
sun,
Yeah, it's just a proposal.
will you have stalls for the horses and?
People come in and they do like a ride around with the horses and have them by their trailer, and then they usually leave pretty soon
The
after.
problem is they only stay there for a couple hours, and they leave, and then who has horses, they're pretty much on their horses, and then they put it back on the trailer and leave. So it's not that they're having the horses.
So in other words, the entertainment is not the horses and the bulls, it's the other stuff.
No.
I mean, they can be there as long as they want
It's
to the event.
the horses, people who come and ride on the horses, and also the bulls is the entertainment, the main entertainment.
They're on the horse
The music
watching.
is just a compliment, because I guess it will be too boring just to have just that. I mean, they need a little bit of music.
Mr. Cabrera Senior, do you have anything to say?
No. First of all, thank you for the opportunity to come here today. What I understand and what I hear, I guess there's a lot of confusion here and questions. This started to show, and this can be good for the county, for everybody. Yes, the ring have the cage for the bulls and have it 2 separate areas for the horses and the bulls. I do have a Paso Fino. That's pretty much the horses can is all Paso Fino. So this is the proposed, to go for. That's why I go to the special event right now. I know the neighbors around far away, I do understand, because maybe really not understand not understanding, and he don't know the area, but there's one spot. So you're talking about 200 by 200, pretty much the space using. So there's open wide, so it's really safe for everybody, for the kids, for everybody. So this is a family event, So to understand so far right now, there's too many questions, and maybe really not understand, or was not really prepared for that, because it's a lot. There's putting things together and one, because I'm still working in that, you know what I mean? So But thank you for the opportunity to have us today to explain to you, you guys, what is the plan, what I try to do, and this do the right way.
Wouldn't you rather have a nice horse ranch?
I mean, I can have it, whatever, but that's not the point. You know what I mean? I mean, I like to get out. I can do that. I can do whatever this agreement and do the right thing to support and whatever. You know, this I can do anything to support. I mean, there's more that. You know what I mean? So.
Well, I think it's a great idea. I just think it's the wrong place.
You live on the property?
I live in there. I have houses about 20 minutes away. I have houses there, so I live in there. I mean,
How many acres on Hightower do you own? A lot more acres than
I
that.
have 200 acres together in 4 houses right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Again, if we, with all due respect, if we could get this to be considered with requirements and prove, the neighbors and everybody, that what we're trying to do is the right things, following all the ordinances and the law and everything. Again, if you don't see, by first hand what it's like, then it's kind of hard for everybody to picture here, because the first thing they think is, oh, it's going to be, this event where it's going to draw a lot of problems. No, they need to see it at first hand, and everybody's invited to go there. Again, that's the only way you could pretty much understand, the way the event is. And again, I do respect, your opinion as far as is the wrong place, but I guess we should be embracing changes everywhere. And if you embrace changes, as long as they're done the right way, and as long as everybody gets together and understand what we're trying to do, I guess we'll be on the right but again, it's just our request.
I'm trying to see this, like, again, thank you again to having us to explain. But see, like, I got neighbors, I got Mr. Cody, I got Mr. Greg, I got Matthew. So that's really my neighbors and friends, like hanging together, parties, birthday parties and all that. So I'm sorry, but I don't see face here to really living together. I got Mr. Rick, I got Dustin, I got Mr. Greg, I got Matt. I got 2 more of these Hispanic people, Cuban, whatever. So I really don't see a lot of houses around, and it's a far away. And again, I respect everybody here, but I don't see really a lot of houses close to there to really see the picture inside. You know what I mean? So. But thank you very much.
No, yeah, I know it may not be visible to everybody, but I'm very open to hear what everybody here has to say in terms of what, in terms of noise, maybe visually what they saw the previous event or all that kind of stuff. So I'm very open to. We all are open to just see what everybody else in the community has to say about it, because again, like I said, there's an event this Saturday, so there's still time for us to maybe make some changes if there's some concerns, especially in the future. So as well, yeah, and thank you guys for everything. And like he said, it'd be great to see you guys there at the property or anybody else here to come take a look at it. Haven't met any of you before, but that'd also be great, so y'all can get a better idea of what it is. Maybe it seems so large scale. It's not. It's just the community and anybody else that's welcome to come in, because it's open for everybody. But more than anything, just a family event. So whoever is interested or just curious, it'd be a great idea to come take a look and get a better idea.
I think that's the issue. I think that because you haven't been able to. I think that's the issue. It's because the persons here have not been able to kind of get an idea of what's going on. So neighborhood input is huge. Yes. And I think, like for instance, I think you mentioned that the the structure that you mentioned was optional. That may actually, if you talk with the community, they may have said that the issue was noise, and a building structure would actually, control the noise. So I think some of those things that could have been rectified prior to coming.
Yes, yeah, there'd be pros and cons to everything, and like, that's like an example of just, fix to maybe one of the issues. I was the one that personally went around driving and giving tickets to the neighbors that I could until I ran out, but, so there is people maybe that I heard that said that wasn't true, but no, I mean, I did, to the neighbors, so that was pretty fun, and everyone I saw came, it was free tickets, so I mean, who wouldn't, and they definitely saw that it was much different than what they expected, especially when you don't know, because, you say rodeo and it sounds big, it sounds crazy. This is a lot more small scale. I've been to like the Houston rodeo. That one was huge. It was at a stadium, but this is like our little version of it in Rockdale and in Conyers. It's like a little version. I mean, who knows what it could be? It could then, if this becomes something and it expands into something else and it had to be somewhere else, I mean, that makes sense. Of course, there's only so much you can do at that property. So this is not intended for large scale at all. Not at all.
And just a final statement, I just want to say that when we said at the beginning that the owner is very supportive of the community, he really meant it, meaning that he's willing to, lend the land for schools or for the churches or anybody who wants to do an event, non-profit event, to help the community. He's willing to lend the land for free. So that's what I meant when he said he wants to support the community. It's not only about making money on business, it's about bringing the community together, making sure that all the neighbors know the owner of the property, which I know somebody, gets so busy and they don't have the chance to meet, the owner. But again, if anybody, the school has like a party or something for the team or for a festival or something that is a nonprofit, but it's to help the community, he's willing to lend the land for free. So that's what I'm saying, that he's willing to support the community on that way. So many businesses don't do that, but he is not about just making money on business, because again, this is not his primary source of income. This is just because he wants to get together with the community and get to know all the neighbors, because he hasn't had a chance, unfortunately, of knowing all the neighbors. And unfortunately, when you don't know a neighbor, you only see the outside of the person, but you don't see the interior of the person. That person could be a really nice people, but you don't give him the opportunity. So if you give the opportunity to get to know him, you will understand that he is a nice person and he is willing to support the community.
That's well said, and very important to know the people. The problem's the neighborhood right now, and it's not just the people, it's the neighborhood in its whole. And I'm just afraid of the damage that could be done to that.
Again, we don't want to do this as a large scale. We want to maintain this as a safe, scale. We don't want to interrupt anybody, life. So we want to make sure that we are very careful on not making this as a large scale, something that could be acceptable for everybody.
At the beginning of the approval section, it starts out 8 or more times a year with the following conditions. Would you be willing to reduce that number and make it a finite number to, say, 3 times a year with no more than 3?
Whatever, as a community jointly can kind of come up with, if there should be set a maximum. I mean, obviously 10, 12 is a lot, or even once a month sometimes sounds like a lot, not just on whatever could be noise complaints or just, kind of the community being against it, but also it'd be hard to kind of host something like that either. And there's some major holidays, there's like Mother's Day coming up this weekend, so that's kind of the point of this date, for people to come out and spend time with family. But there's only, just like holidays, there's very few out of the year that you can kind of choose a good time to get together with people. Then there can definitely be a set limit for this. This is not intended to be once a week, 2 or 3 times a week.
That's not would be a good number.
I can't think of a good number.
Excuse me, please. please limit all comments only to the people who are speaking right now, and that person who's speaking now is the applicant and the board. Public comments will be available.
Let me clarify something. When we ask questions to you, if, say, we're asking somebody that's speaking, it doesn't count towards the minutes, and that includes the people that are speaking, against the, if we ask you questions, that doesn't count towards your minutes.
To answer your question, we're very open to have a set limit, whether it's once a month, once every 2 months.
How would 2 a year sound to you?
Well, that sounds like what we could currently do because of the special use permits or what we can apply for currently. It's to, the goal is to maybe increase that. It doesn't have to be once a month. It does, that's just, it's kind of just open to kind of talk about.
So since you've not met with the community, so maybe we need to kind of listen to what the community has to
Correct.
say? Because since you've not met with them, at least we can hear pros and cons.
Exactly.
To what,
Yeah, and I
what
know,
they
I mean,
think.
yeah, of course.
I mean, they're the one living.
Yeah, of course, yeah, us as well, and so, we'd like to kind of make sure that everybody is comfortable with it. I mean, I mean, obviously, it's never gonna be 100%, in favor, but if we can do anything to kind of mitigate that, the people are against it, or how people are comfortable with it, if we can have an increase in that in the community, and that'd be better.
Yeah, and again, we are just open to any questions, and as far as, we do respect everybody's opinion. Again, nobody's going to have the same opinion, but we do respect everybody's opinion. That's what we want to say.
Okay. So I think, did you want to say?
Thank you very much. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Thank you very much again. I mean, yeah, that's true. What I daughter say, my son say, Brandon. I mean, definitely I have a really some kind of builders, GCs, talk about it to sell it. I really love this property, all of this county, and I just really much about that. I mean, I prefer to keep it and do whatever to sell it to this build supervision. I really love the property. I like it, and really thank you very much.
So he's always been against that and always declined those
Yeah.
offers to anybody. We get a lot of, because of the land is a little bit larger, and luckily we have land in different areas. People do try to buy that land and try to do that stuff, but one thing for sure is that land staying in the family, and it is never going to be anything more than agricultural land, the way it is now.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. At this time, I appreciate this.
All right, thank you very much.
Having people speak. Do we have anybody to speak in support?
No, sir.
Okay, all right, then we'll go to opposition, and we're giving you, normally, as I said, we normally have 10 minutes. We're going to give you all 20 minutes, because there's a lot of people that want to speak. And if we stop you, and at the end, we ask you questions, that doesn't count towards the minutes. Okay, all right. Right.
Yeah, I got you.
Yes. 20 minutes, yes, for the whole group. Normally, okay, well, I'm telling you, normally it's 10 minutes. So we're extending it to 20. Now, if we want to stop you and asking you questions, then the clock stops. So if you have a spokesperson or something you want to designate, or if they call you and there's somebody else you want to give your time to, you're free to do that also.
It's good if somebody is speaking and makes some points. If you do not repeat the points, other than just to say, I agree with what he said, you could get more speakers up at that point.
Exactly, yes.
Before I begin, I wanted to let you know that we received 4 submitted comments in opposition of this application. I'm not going to read the comments verbatim, but I just want to put their name in the record. We received a comment in opposition concerned residents of Northern Rockdale. We got a letter, but email from Miss Kim Ellington in opposition, Miss Charlie Bryant, and Mike and Melody Hudlow as well.
Do you have copies of that
Yes, I
emails
can, yeah.
for us?
Yes, sir, yeah. And Thornburg as well, so.
Okay. Do you have copies to show us now, or are you giving, or?
Yeah, I have to make copies for you guys. You can just hold on to them.
Okay, all right. So we
I'll
can
have to be able to give for individually and
put
so
that over.
forth.
Okay.
The first person to speak in opposition is Emily Toto.
letting me skip. I have a little one with me.
Microphone down.
Yeah, thank you. I have a little one with me, so I jumped the line. Good evening. My name is Emily Toto. It's a pleasure to address you today, members of the commission. I'm a 5-year resident of Northern Rockdale. It's a lot less than probably everybody in this room. I live at 1100 Wellington Court Northwest. And we're not just considering approval of a special event permit for a little outdoor rodeo. We're considering permission to have a rodeo and musical spectacular. You've seen the poster. We've got bands with as many as 16 people performing. We've got a major star from the community coming to perform, and 20 bulls and riders. But this ranch has neighbors. We are their neighbors. 86 acres does not shield us from the noise of music, of fireworks, the bass booming in our ears while we're trying to sleep. We've heard it at their previous events, and we're going to hear it on Saturday. We're all bracing ourselves. You've seen, you'll be able to read our letter where we've outlined some of the concerns, and it's mainly related to noise, but I also have concerns about infrastructure. I think those of us in the community do, about our little 2-lane country roads that are where the incoming traffic is going to be going through. I know that the onus is on them to develop that better and determine what needs to be done for the traffic plan. But I just consider that a big if. And the last point relates to community development. So you've heard my piece about noise, but it's not just a nuisance to us, it's a nuisance in the eyes of the law, in the Code of Georgia and in the Code of Rockdale County. 421, it doesn't matter if you have a permit. If you're on private property and you're making noise that I can hear on my private property, it's a violation of the ordinance. So I don't see how they're going to remain below 65 decibels when that kind of activity is being planned there. This is a major event. I spoke about the roads, and just as to the community benefit, we heard about the International Horse Park. That's the first thing that came to my mind. Shouldn't we, from an economic standpoint, be encouraging the use of our existing facility, which has 4 lanes of roads, which has a barrier in between the roads? It's been very well developed with the roads, with the arenas. But instead what we're doing is we're having this little small family business, but it's bringing in all these people from Atlanta, from Athens, everywhere in between. They're coming to spend time at this one facility, and then they're leaving. They're not engaging with our other businesses of Rockdale. If we want a big event center, let's make one. Let's make a Lakewood. Let's make a Cobb Energy Center. I would love that. That'd be a real benefit to us, but I don't feel that this is. I don't think it fits with the plan for Rockdale County. And I think if it's allowed, it's going to attract a lot of other businesses that don't fit into the plan of Rockdale County. We're here for peace and tranquility. That's why we live in Northern Rockdale. That's why we live in this little watershed. We're raising our young families. We're retiring here. And this is the one thing that we have, that we value, that's going to be interrupted. We don't live close to shopping. We don't live, most of us, close to our jobs. And now we're going to sacrifice the one thing that we do have, which is our quiet. So I know these events aren't going to stop. I know they'll do 2 times a year if they can. But I'm just asking that this county not be a part of sanctioning that. And so thank you for considering my comments. And I know y'all will do the right thing.
Next speaker is Roland Adams.
How y'all doing tonight? I put it this way. When the last rodeo was going on, I can sit in my living room, watch TV, turn it up, and I can still hear the banging noise outside. That's how close I am. And this is not going to work. I mean, I don't mind the rodeo every once in a while, maybe even the 2 years of that special permit. But if y'all change the way it's done, if y'all open it up, it's going to be wide open. Just like the building they just showed. There's going to be all kinds of stuff going on out there. And we're in a farming community, in a nice little area that's been quiet ever since I've lived here. I've been here 6 years. I never had no problem. And then this shows up, you know. And like I said, I'm fine with 1 event or 2 events a year. But if y'all turn it loose, it's going to be wide open. They're going to do all kinds of, and like I said, we can sit in our living room and still hear it. I mean, the noise is unreal. Thank you.
Mr. George Kelichek.
Commissioners, citizens of Rockdale County, George Kelichek, 3647 Clubhouse Lane, South Rockdale. I'm the founder of the Haynes Watershed Foundation, I of the Taxpayer Association, chairman of the Rockdale Soil Water Conservation District, and member of the Georgia and the National Conservation Districts. I have several issues. I'm in opposition, along with all of our membership, regarding this special use permit. First of all, has Rockdale County done a financial impact study, and has the EPD done, along with Dr. Arona, who is our health director, done a complete health inspection and impact study on this? Fecal matter disposal. I grew up on a cattle farm and a horse farm in Northern Virginia. I know what fecal matter is, and I know how you have to dispose of it. There has to be a holding pond. There has to be double silt fence along with hay protecting the Haynes watershed, which provides the only potable drinking water to 93,000 residents here in Rockdale County. There has to be an industrial sewage system on site to handle this fecal matter that is disposed by all these animals. I've been to rodeos all over this United States. Currently and annually, the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association sanctions 650 rodeos in only 38 states. The Journal of Emergency Medicine in October 21 said there were 408 incidents of injuries in 1 year and over 17,363 injuries from 2000 and 2019. Do we need to expose our children and ourselves to these types of industries? Is 911 and EMA ready to accept this type of responsibility for Rockdale County? We are certainly overtaxed. Due to inflation, we're having to spend an extra $793 a month to live. Who is going to pay for the decel and acceleration lanes on this windy road? I've been to this spot. I went to the last event. We have to look at this decision not only for 10 minutes, but 10 months and 10 years from now. Is Rockdale County Hospital ready to receive all these types of injuries? So let's reimagine Rockdale in the correct manner as our Board of Commissioners and the Conyers-Rockdale Economic Development Council continues to say that we need to reimagine Rockdale for the greatest lifestyle possible to the citizens and the people coming into this county. Thank you very much.
Miss Donna Browning.
Good evening. I have a dream, and I know that
Microphone down.
these gentlemen in their business plan said that they had a dream, and I had a dream of a farm that I bought here about 10 years ago when I retired. My dream is peace and quiet, and I found that in Rockdale County. I never thought about looking here, but I've been so happy. The noise, the traffic scares me to death. I hope you won't destroy my dream. I also want to tell you that there are several communities around the country who have banned rodeos totally. Pennsylvania, Virginia, California, there are communities within those states that do not want rodeos anymore. In addition, ASPCA, the Humane Society, PETA, are all very against rodeos. I wonder if Rockdale County is ready to receive the bad publicity that could come from this. We have an opportunity in this county to make it a stellar place. And I just don't see to let someone come in and have a commercial operation in the middle of a farming community at 2,000 people, an event, they are making, last time online, it said $80 per ticket and $10 to park. That's almost $100,000 that they were making at that one event. Why do we want to steal money, and I think it is stealing, from the Georgia International Horse Park, which is one of the best facilities in the country? And why do we want to take that money away from them when that money could go toward helping that park attract some of the best horse shows in the country? Thank you.
Mr. Bruce Brookhart.
Hello, Bruce Brookhart. I'm speaking for myself and my wife Mary. I live at 500 Bethel Road, which backs up to this property on 460 Hightower. Several things have been said that I have to agree with, so I don't need to go into it all. The fact that it's $80 is hardly inviting the community to just come by and see what we're doing. I don't see it. Also, the last event they held, now they're saying they're holding the music down. This music went on from 1 o'clock in the afternoon to 10 o'clock at night. And it is not far from the road. They're putting it right in the middle of the property. And my windows were shaking for the entire time. Also, I have livestock, and this scared the out of my animals. That's not fair. I built on this property 23 years ago. And here, all of a sudden, we're going to, when we have in this county a great place like the horse park for these kind of events, somebody wants to come in, they want to put in steel buildings. What is going to happen to my well if this goes on? What is going to happen to my property value when the noise and the irritation drives me away from my own home place? How am I going to get a fair amount for my property? It's not going to happen because people aren't going to want that, because it is literally in my backyard. This last event, it was very noisy. They brought in a handful of horses, but mainly it was a music venue. This, what you've seen this obviously, 4 bands, 4 large bands. They are not putting on rodeos. They're getting rodeo permits and putting on music venues, loud music venues. So, I want to reiterate that I strongly oppose this. I don't think it's in the best interest of the neighborhood. As people have said, this is a quiet area. We want to keep it that way, and this is going to happen. And they're also throwing out already where they want to do parking. They want to do structures. Now, with these 20 bulls that are coming, now, I grew up in California, so I have a little Spanish, and the Chaparro Bala originated in Mexico, and it was used to ride bulls to death, period. Now, I don't think they can get away with that anymore, but this is hardly a friendly, humane endeavor. It is definitely a commercial endeavor in a residential and rural area. And it's just, I'm exasperated. And thank you for your time.
Miss Linda New.
All mine, I'm hearing it, and what I have to say, I agree with all that.
Mr. Kevin Jewell.
Just, we have 6 minutes and 47 seconds.
All right, I'll be short then. 5'9" at least. Kevin Jewell, 2009 Bethel Road, Northeast. I'm 1.1 miles from this particular site. I've heard the events they've had. I can hear them loud and clear. I can tell you when the tuba player is off key. At my farm. I have a horse farm 1.1 miles away. I have been all over the country showing horses, judging horse shows, going to rodeos. I love rodeos. This event is not a rodeo like we know what rodeos are. It's a different culture type event, mainly with bulls, but I think, in my opinion, that what is actually going on at this facility, and the grounds are beautiful. I go by it all the time. They've made a wonderful place for a horse farm. It'd be magnificent. But I think, to me, it is just a big party for profit. That's my opinion. Thank you for your time.
Miss Sally Robertson, sorry.
Hello, Sally Robertson. I live at 2109 Sheffield Road, and I am 1.6 miles from the venue. I did want to say thank you to the staff for their amazing recommendations. If everything were followed on this, I think many of us in the neighborhood would think this was great. Most of us are very quiet lot. We say live and let live. If there's an event going on and it's just one night, we'll put up with a little music. But at 1.6 miles, with my brand new windows that I spent way too much on, closed with the TV on, I can still hear it. That seems rather shocking. I also have farm animals, and they are very disturbed by it when that happens. I'm mostly concerned about the people and the quiet area that Rockdale County has decided North Rockdale is going to be, and we should be slowly expanding, not rapidly expanding. I am also concerned that the applicants have not reached out to the community in the way that they probably need to. That tells me that maybe they aren't necessarily going to do everything on that list. That is my own suspicion, and that is part of the reason that I am in opposition to this, and thank you very much for your time.
Mr. Carl LaRocca.
It's about the noise, primarily. In the permit application, it was stated that it would be an acoustic audit. I don't know what that is. And will it involve the deck in my back house? Is the audit done at my house or by their amplifiers? The fact of the matter is, the proposal that they drew up looked like a steel building that was open. It had stalls around the perimeter, which meant that they would only have walls up to about neck high on the exterior. It's essentially an open building with a roof on top of it. The bandstand was pointed right at my house. Of course, I'm about a little less than a mile away. My property's on Zingara, but if you look at Google Earth, a lot of the houses and the properties in that area have water features. There's 2 lakes between my house and the venue, no sound barrier. And what goes on there, I hear very clearly. I hear the traffic that goes up and down Georgia 20, even though I am probably 3/4 of a mile from Georgia 20. It's a quiet place, and we've sacrificed a lot in the future appreciation of our properties to keep development down, to keep it a quiet place. And certain events have caused hunting to get a little bit worse. Fishing remains good, but live music venues 8 or more times a year did not fit in with that neighborhood. Thank you.
Ms. Jane Stigall.
We have 2 minutes left.
Thank you. I'll be brief. My neighbors have said an awful lot that I would like to say as well. Only a couple of things I'd like to point out. One, you've heard the parable about the frog being put in the water and then the water slowly heated. We are experiencing that. Let's have a little event and then see how far we can expand it. I don't know if you heard, but I heard one of the gentlemen that spoke say something about 200 acres and a big entertainment venue. He started talking about all this big plans that they have. That's not our quiet Rockdale community. I bought out there, I bought part of a old soybean field 30 years ago, over 30 years ago. I bought it specifically because it's agriculture. I built my home and I have started a horse farm. I've had a horse farm there for years. I've got little Morgans. And it is a very quiet, wonderful community to live in. If we allow this to happen, we will destroy a piece of Rockdale that we have tried for years as a county to hold precious for our community. My neighbors, they're quiet, they're wonderful people. Some of them have lived there truly their whole life. We can't let this change. One interesting point on the report that was given from the planning department. They talked about the traffic. I won't go into that again. You're very right. Secondary roads cannot handle it. They talked about the noise. I won't go into that further. I will point out that one of the things they said was, before an event is held, you must notify by mail all of the neighbors. My question is, what are we supposed to do? Duck and cover or run? I have a feeling we're supposed to run. Why are we to be notified ahead of time when this is going to be going on? What are we going to do? There's nothing we can do to stop it. Think about that frog sitting in the water. And think about the fact that the more they ask, the hotter the water gets, that frog boils to death. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Eric Slade.
How many more do you have? 3?
Down by 6 seconds.
What? We're down to 6 seconds. Well, I'm going to ask the board. All right.
5 more minutes.
Courtney?
We have to give 5 more minutes to the
We talk to the board, and we will also give the applicant, but we'll give you, so everybody can be heard, we'll extend it 5 more minutes. And then the applicant also has time for rebuttal after that. So, sir, you can come on up, and if you can reset the clock for 5 minutes.
5 minutes and 6 seconds. Well, that's what they had left.
And thank you guys for your consideration. Eric Slade, my wife and I live at 1105 Wallington Court in North Rockdale subdivision. So we moved there 7 years ago, and we love our neighbors. We love letting our neighbors use their land however they want, if they want to have a party, etc. But we moved there because we would not have industrial professional entertainment venues. We're living in 3-acre lots. We're living in places where we can have quiet, and it's over a mile away, just about a mile away, and it is loud, especially I'm sure that, and the fireworks didn't come up, but I'm sure that a couple of the events had fireworks too. So it was not something that we want to have on a regular basis. That Bethel Road is very winding. There's no way it can handle traffic. Mr. Cabrera, I'm sure, is a wonderful person. I'd be speaking against this if Mother Teresa wanted it. And there are several properties he mentioned that are fenced off the same way with the same large gates off Bethel Road too, not just off North Hightower Road. So the boil the frog thing is accurate. I don't know where it's going to go from here. Thanks for listening.
Mr. Daniel Forrester.
Hello. I've been here since 2004, and I bought here, got 3 acres in the watershed just to avoid stores, apartment buildings, and any industrial type of facility. And I appreciate the man coming up and doing all the permits, but I just don't think this is the right place for him to be doing what he wants to do. Thank you.
Mr. Mike Thornburg.
I don't have anything to add.
Crystal and Dan Cowan.
Everything's been said. We're good.
Is everybody met? Sir, I'm sorry.
Well, while you're up here, the special event permit, how many times a year did you say that's allowed?
Twice.
Okay, so have they had one already?
No, they wanted to schedule this upcoming weekend. I'm sorry, scheduled. Oh, I apologize. I remember only that one. I'll have to double check to make sure.
Okay. I believe there's one scheduled on June 17th where we can ask. And are they allowed to have fireworks?
Yes, they're allowed to have fireworks. Yes, fireworks are regulated by the state, and so there's a state parameters as far as how long you can do fireworks and so forth. There's a special exception for holidays, but anybody can shoot fireworks throughout the state of Georgia. Up to 12 a.m. Actually, they shoot behind my house. So.
Right.
Doesn't that change the decibel, noise decibels that's allowed?
I don't know the state regulations off the top of my head, but I'll have to look into that one though.
Okay. All right, thank you. At this time, we'll allow the applicant to come up.
I filled out one of those forms. I'm Pastor Lamont Scott from Grace Missionary Baptist Church, and my name is not Paul.
All right, okay, so we do have extra.
What's your name again? My name is Reverend Lamont, L-A-M-O-N-T.
Yes, I apologize. I didn't see his name right there.
Did we have left? Because
I think it was
3 minutes.
3 minutes and so forth for him.
Okay. Go ahead, sir.
I apologize for disrupting.
It's okay. No, you're not disrupting. You signed up.
The main issues for us is truthfulness. And I heard statements made early on that contact was made with all of the neighbors. That is not true. That they had spoken with others around where this is happening. None of that occurred. I've been the pastor of that church. We took over that property in 2013, so we've been there over 10 years. The last event that I recall, the main issue was traffic. Secondly, and primarily on our church property, they left beer cans, beer bottles, and trash. Our address is 300 West Hightower Trail. The first address for the property that is at issue today, I think it's 375. That's less than 300 to 400 yards away from our property. I don't complain about anything. We love our community, but the thing I'm most concerned about is one, we had no idea that this type of property was going to show up. This type of business was going to be there. But to the left of that property is a horse farm. To the right of that property is residential, elderly, retired people. Across the street from that property are elderly people. And then to the right of those elderly people is our church. This is an improper use for that area. It's agricultural, it's quiet, it's peaceful. We have great neighbors, we all get along, and this is just not the right place for that. Thank you for listening to me.
All right, at this time, we'll have the applicant.
Thank you, everybody, for all your words and your opinions. Aside from this, I also wanted to say that despite whatever happens with this, we'd still like to be, integrative part of the community. So I hope everybody that got to see me today and my family and whatever friends that we can still, have a good, type of relationship despite whatever happens with this. That'd be great because I've been here for 10 plus years since I'm like middle school, so it's always cool. And so that's first and foremost what I wanted to say, everybody that's here. And if we see each other outside, we can continue to talk about anything, you know, whether it's this or you know, people that grew up here. So I've met a lot of people that have grown up in the area, so I always like to hear about that. But yeah, I mean, I was a bit confused on some stuff, but a lot of it, you know, I definitely will take into consideration and stuff that, you know, we will continue to kind of think about and plan, because this is, you know, there's only one event. I don't know the January stuff. I know that wasn't us, and the fireworks. We only have fireworks 4th of July and New Year's. So that was a bit confusing.
You ever had fireworks?
The event? No. I'll be honest, no. And so that was confusing to me because we didn't have a January event. It could have been New Year's. It could have been leftover New Year's fireworks, maybe. I'm not sure.
When have you had another? What other events have you had this year?
This year, no. I'm confused by someone saying.
So tomorrow is the first one.
I'm sorry?
This weekend is
This is the first one this year, yeah. I think
you had one last year.
last year was it May or June? Was it June? June? I think it was like June.
Okay, wait a minute, Christine.
We'll confirm and we'll send something to you.
Okay, sir, all right. Sir?
In January?
Don't respond.
I can't respond?
Come here.
Okay. January, no. And if we do have a family event, we're on the other side of the property. So not on that side of the property.
So it might have been a family event in January?
But not where he's saying we parked in the pasture, no.
so could-
But we didn't have fireworks, no. This New Year's, I don't even think we had fireworks. Our neighbors did, so we watched theirs. So, not sure where that came from. I know someone tried to translate some English to Spanish, some Spanish to English, and something about killing, I don't know, jaripeo baile. We can all kind of Google translate that, and it's it's a rodeo dance. So because there's always live music going on, people can, of course, dance partnered up and stuff like that, or just by themselves. That's another thing. But other than that, like I said, despite whatever happens with this, of course, this is just the proposal. This is just to come speak with the community about it. So I'm glad everybody's here to kind of listen out. And like I said, people are always welcome to come look. But despite whatever happens here, I'd love to still be, you know, just a good citizen in the community, still be able to give back. We work in construction, we do plumbing. So, you know, we thankfully business as well. So we'll always be supportive of the community, supportive of any kind of organizations, especially nonprofits. And I'd love to be able to meet more people, more neighbors in the community, and just kind of spend more time with everybody here and have a good connection and a good relationship with everybody, no matter what. Despite our differences and despite kind of the different opinions about this particular matter, to me that's separate as us as a whole, or us as individuals. Yes, sir. I think that's it for me.
Any other questions? Okay. Thank you. Okay. No other. Appreciate it.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you. All right. Yeah. This time we are in board discussion. Okay. This time we're in board discussion.
I would like to just make a couple. I would like to make a couple of comments. I was really disturbed by the comments that came from the community. If I were living there in that area, I would not want the noise. I would have the same problems that they have. And someone said that that there was a common theme with everything. It was the noise level, and I know they said something about fireworks, but the traffic and the, whatever, that interrupted your peace of mind. And someone said, this is a commercial business in a residential area, and that's what bothered me. So I just want to go on record as saying I think rodeos are great. I don't think I can support this one at this time in this place, because I wouldn't want it that close to me either.
Yeah, I think the problem is, I don't have a problem. These people are very nice. This family's very nice, very accommodating, very friendly. I appreciate that. But the problem is, when these people bought in North Rockdale, and that's why you went to North Rockdale in the first place, to get away from all the commercial and the noise, the traffic, the AR and the WP up there, that's, a low impact area, not supposed to be much, maybe horse farms there. But to have something this invasive, this intense, that's not what they expected, and that's not what even they look, I'm gonna move here and this is the zoning, and things like that aren't allowed. So, and plenty of people spoke of their concerns and the noise. They moved up there for the peace and quiet, so I have a lot of concerns about this, although, again, if anybody was to do it, these people are a very nice family, Cabreras, but it just is too invasive, something too disruptive for the neighbors around there. But there will be one, now this will go to the Board of Commissioners, whatever we decide, but there will be an event this Saturday, and I encourage people to go around it or kind of see for yourself what it is, so when you go to the Board of Commissioners, you can say, I've been there, and have additional concerns or whatever.
Unfortunately, if it was on the agenda for the Board of Commissioners, their only time to talk about it would be during public comment, and during public comments, you're not allowed to refer to anything that's currently on the agenda. So, you would have to find another way to get your opinions to the BOC. But I agree with the others tonight that this would make a fantastic horse farm. I saw the property recently, the peacefulness, the tranquility of that whole area. I moved to Rockdale County in 1978 on a piece of property that my father bought with what he referred to as his Purple Heart money. He got injured in World War II. 1952 is when he purchased that property. And my brother and I built houses later in life and loved the tranquility that we had. Mine was right next door to the monastery. You couldn't have gotten any better than that. But that's what you still got up in North Rockdale, and I hope that's what you get to continue with, because this is not the right thing for that piece of property, period.
Any other comments? Okay. Okay. No, sir.
No, sir.
We're aboard this guy.
We're on your side, don't worry. How do we vote this? How do we do it?
All right. If there's no other discussion, I can entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to deny the special use permit, and to deny the change to the special use permit case number 2023-02 for 375, 385, 460 High Tower Trail Northwest from agricultural, residential, and watershed protection, WP watershed protection.
I'll second that motion.
I have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes for denial. Now, we are only a recommending body, okay? And most of you probably know that. The people who make the decision are the Board of Commissioners. And, Chris, when is that meeting?
26th.
The 25th at?
May 25th, back in the same area.
At what time?
6 o'clock.
The same time, okay. May
And
25th, 6 o'clock.
Chris, I'm correct in advising them that they would not be able to use public comment to express opposition to this because it's currently on that agenda, correct?
Well, I'm sorry, what are you stating?
They can't speak
They
during...
can't speak during public comment
Yes, at the zoning public hearing about this item, yes, they can.
Yeah.
at the zoning, but not at the BOC meeting.
Yes, at the BOC meeting, BOC zoning public hearing, yes, they can speak about this item. May
But the
25th.
voting session, they would
Voting
not.
session, no, sir, no. Voting
That's,
session, no.
okay, so there will be, the zoning meeting coming up, they would be able to vote,
Yes, they'd be able to
express-
speak.
May 25th.
May 25th, you'll be able to go. So this item, there has been got a recommendation of denial, so it proceeds to go to the May 25th BOC zoning public hearing. Then after that, it goes to the BOC work session, then after that, it moves to the BOC voting session. The BOC work session and voting session are not open to public comment specifically about this item. The only time you can actually speak about this specific application is at the May 25th BOC zoning public hearing.
or directly to the BOC.
You can submit
Individually.
You can submit comments directly to the BOC. Yes.
Now, let them know about the time frame, how much time...
Is again for every zoning public hearing, you have 10 minutes in total to speak. You can ask the BOC to extend time if they choose to, but they do not, or if they're not, they don't have to. But you're allowed 10 minutes of time.
So my suggestion would be to contact the commissioners individually if you wish to express your opposition. By letter, by email, however you felt necessary.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to the next item.
Y'all want to hang around, that's great.
Yeah, right.
But we'll give you a minute to get out.
You're not staying for the text amendment.
Do what?
The text amendment. For the
Saying you want to hang around.
Yeah. Comes the nail the hell out of that.
Nobody left.
That was for this, because look like all the
They were. Cora, let's take your mask down. And did you like what the big mouth said? Thank you.
All right. If you could all, you're welcome to stay, but if you're leaving, if you could clear the room here so we can continue our meeting. All right. We're moving on to item R3. 0 Northeast Clark Street, Northeast Bermuda Drive, 0 Northeast Clark Street, and 0 Salem Road. This is a rezoning case number 2023-06. It's a request to rezone 4 parcels for a total of 19.771 acres from R1 Single Family Residential to M1 Limited Industrial District and M1 for general warehousing use. Parcel 07400300003, 07400300022, 07400300004, and 07400300001. The size is 19.771 acres. The applicant is Alliance Industrial and Smith, Gambrell, and Russell, LLP.
Y'all need a minute?
Okay.
Y'all good? Y'all need a minute? Y'all need to catch your breath? All right, okay, all right, we'll keep on going then. All right. Again, the application before you is RZ case 23-06. The applicant is Alliance Engineering. The applicant is requesting to rezone the subject property from R1 to M1 for the operation of general warehousing. To kind of bring up a few points of interest to this application. I apologize, it's on tongue time. The proposed
warehouse would be a total of 152,880 square feet. The location, proposed access for this location would be along Old Covenant Highway and North Salem Road. The employee visitor parking would be at the front of the facility, screened. They do plan on having some open space as part of the overall development. The proposed elevation for the warehouse will be glazing elements on the storefront for the offices, and then there will be a commercial facade for the rear loading. The applicant does have pictures of the elevations as well. A transitional buffer must be contiguous because of the different zoning that the applicant is requesting already next to in the residential zoning properties. Again, the future land use of the subject property is is industrial. The current zoning of the subject property is R1. So he's just here just to kind of again point out some of the elevations the applicant has submitted to us. These are again to show you that the applicant is planning on doing concrete tilt wall with glass on the storefront and metal canopies as well. The applicant did request that the dumpsters to be, we did request the dumpster to be located near the rear and adjacent loading docks and not be visible from the public right of way. The concern that is employees will have to cross the truck court to empty trash. So we just want to make sure that's clear. For the sign, allow the sign to be matched to architectural treatments of the building. So there's not a different architectural design for the sign compared to what is to the actual building. So we want to make sure it mirrors one another. For development of codes, the applicant is meeting all development codes as you see in front of you. Again, it's the front yard as well. With all staff applications, staff has provided staff analysis in our packet for you. Staff did, after going through the analysis, did recommend approval of the application with the following 13 conditions. And the applicant is here tonight as well.
Okay. Now hear from the applicant.
Hope this isn't your first rodeo.
I'm glad to see the room cleared out a little bit after that last one. But good evening, Mr. Chair and members of the commission. My name's Alex Brock with Smith Gambrell Russell. I'm here on behalf of the applicant, Alliance Industrial. Joining me tonight is Frank Fallon with Alliance. And we are here to discuss our application for rezoning of the property. One clarification I'd like to make from the initial reading of the caption is this is a rezoning from R1 and M1. Some of the parcels are already zoned M1 to M1 contiguously. It's 4 parcels total, so I just want to make that clear. And we are asking the rezoning in order to facilitate the development of a distribution warehouse structure. The property, if you could go back to the last slide, or the first one. The property is in an area with a number of light industrial properties to the east along North Salem Road. We have railroad right away to the south, and then residential to the west of the property. As you can see in the site plan that we have pulled up, we are hidden from view of the right of way by properties to the north and to the east. To the north, we are bordered by Lone Star Trucking, which is zoned M1, as well as the Shady Grove Baptist Church, which is zoned R1. To the east, we have several parcels that are also zoned M1. 2 of those parcels were purchased by Lincoln Trucking in the summer of 2022 for the development of a commercial garage and truck storage. Further east along North Salem Road, we have Evans Tool and Die. And to the southwest, as I mentioned, we have the CSX Railroad right-of-way. To the northwest, we have several undeveloped properties that are zoned R1 along Sandy Lane. Those properties, I would like to note, are currently, as I stated, undeveloped. They also do not have open right-of-way access at this point. There is Clark Street on paper is a right-of-way, but it's unopened at this time. So those are essentially landlocked parcels currently. We have taken some care in the design of our property. As I stated, it is hidden from the view of the right-of-way. We are tucked behind other industrial properties. We have also taken care to buffer against the adjacent residential to the west. We're preserving a large number of trees along that area. And again, just to reiterate that those are vacant residential properties that we immediately butt to the west. To the north, we do abut another R1 property, the Shady Grove Baptist Church. We have reached out to that church, and we have a letter of support from the pastor of that church, Pastor Philip Baker, which copies of that letter are submitted into the record, but I'd like to hand those out as well. And I'm also giving to Mr. Wheeler a copy of our proposed changes to the conditions, which I'll get to in a moment. We have also reached out to the community. Before we submitted our application on January 5th, we held a community meeting. We sent out notifications to all property owners within 500 feet of the property. That is not a requirement of the zoning code. We did that out of our own goodwill in order to gather input from the community prior to submitting this application. Out of the approximately 78 notices that we sent out, we had about 15 to 20 people attend our community meeting. There was a number of people. Yes, I believe that gentleman was there. There were about 15 to 20 people there. There were two very vocal people. The rest of them had minor comments, particularly the neighbors that live on Sandy Lane adjacent to our property. We were able to address their concerns regarding buffering and noise and light pollution through the mitigation of our design mitigation. We've also taken care to locate the truck court to the rear of the property, away from the residential properties. To the front face of the building, we are locating the employee entrance. Also, the main truck entrance will be out to North Salem. If you can flip to down one more. Yes, to that aerial photo. You can see the majority of our truck traffic will be exiting to the south along North Salem to access I-20. We have prepared a traffic impact study as well that shows the number of trips as well as the impacts to the adjacent roadways. There will be the traffic impact study says there will be a minor impact to adjacent roadways and no impact to the level of service of nearby intersections. We are also in conformance with the comprehensive plan. I'd like to point out, and this is an important point, that this area is located in the commercial growth corridor per the Rockdale County Comprehensive Plan. It's also designated as the light industrial land use on the Rockdale County future land use map. Two quotes I'd like to mention from the comprehensive plan. One is the commercial growth corridor is intended to accommodate intense office, commercial, institutional, and light industrial uses, including those that require access for trucking adjacent to the county's major activity centers in the city of Conyers. Two, the light industrial land use is one that includes warehousing, distribution, trucking, and manufacturing as primary uses, and includes the storage of large quantity of bulk materials. That's on page 29 of the comprehensive plan. Now, I mention that because our proposed rezoning request and proposed development align exactly with those goals that the county has set forth for the future development of this area. We have tried to locate our development as close to a interstate access, I-20, so that there is little impact to the adjacent roadways. We have direct access, again, via North Salem Road to I-20. If you could flip to the conditions. Real quick, as staff pointed out, we have submitted conceptual elevations. This is not elevations designed for this specific project, but it is something that Alliance Industrial has done for other sites. We have not gone into a architectural design at this point. We're trying to make it through the zoning process before we further engage the architect. But we have submitted these as examples of what the architecture may look like. And if you could flip to the, these are example photos of other developments that we have done. And this is representative of the architecture, style, and materials that would be used for the facility here in Rockdale. And if you could go to the conditions. Staff has recommended 13 conditions, but we have requested changes to 4 of those conditions, and that is just to match the design of our property and the specific elements of our design. Specifically, condition number 2, we've revised what staff had included in there. They had drafted the condition before we provided the sample elevations, so we are asking to revise that to refer to painted concrete tilt wall panel with a glass storefront and metal canopies. And we had also asked to revise that to the final building elevations will be submitted for review prior to building permit. We were notified that we would have to submit those prior to land disturbance permit anyway, so we're okay with staff language there. The third condition, that the development shall provide a 75-foot wide landscape buffer. We modified that from undisturbed buffer because there are portions of the buffer that we will have to encroach into, particularly our access out to Old Covington. We are bordered on both sides by R1 properties. It's only an 85-foot wide stretch. We would require a 150-foot buffer in that 85 feet. So we are planning to encroach into that for the access road and grading. And we realize that we will have to go through a variance process to accommodate that request. But we asked for that change in the conditions because if we had to go back to ask for a change in conditions, we'd have to go through that process here and come back through before this body as well as the Board of Commissioners to change that. Condition number 6, we revised that to match the architecture of the building. And then number 9, we asked to locate the dumpsters adjacent to the truck dock. We do that, and that's typical for our facilities for safety reasons. If we locate it across the truck dock, you have employees walking across the truck dock through truck traffic to empty the trash. We have it right at the truck dock, so it is screened from view from right-of-way or from the residential properties, but it is easy access for the employees. With that, I'll rest my presentation and reserve any remaining time for rebuttal.
I had a question for you in the item number 3 that you're changing, in crossing out all residentially zoned properties, adjacent residentially owned properties. Why wouldn't you have a buffer adjacent to all?
We can. We are just encroaching into portions of those. If you wish to leave the all in there, I think we're fine with that.
Okay. As shown on the site plan, unless reduced by a variance, well, you'll have to apply for the variance, but we don't do variances, so I think it's a moot point. Why would you put that on there?
Because if it's in there as a condition of zoning, we would have to come back before this body to change that to encroach into the buffer.
I think Chris, that wouldn't go to the Board of Zoning Appeals. That would come here. I'm sorry. He wanted, he said provide a 75-foot buffer as shown on the site plan unless reduced by a variance.
Yes, sir.
Who would grant?
The Board of Adjusters.
That's
Board
what
of
I
Adjustment.
thought.
Yeah.
Right. Not us. It would go to the Board of
That's correct, and I wasn't seeking a variance here at this body.
Right. I understand. Okay. But so it's a moot point unless reduced by a variance. Well, you'd have to go to them for a variance so that it would be reduced.
I wanted to add that in there so there was no confusion that this is a condition of zoning, that it was understood that we would have to proceed with a variance in order to encroach into that buffer. If it's interpreted as the 75-foot buffer is a condition of the zoning without a variance, we would have to come back before this body to modify that condition.
Is that the case?
Yeah, so in most cases, if anything that's listed in the conditions of zoning, you will have to come back before the body that actually enlisted the condition. So, Mr. Brock is just simply stating that he just wants to be clear that they have to go to the Board of Adjustments for the reduction of the of the buffer.
Has the planning department reviewed these requested changes?
Yes, we did, yes.
Okay.
Perhaps it would be best to just basically say that this will have to comply with the county's unified code of regulations, and that he can come forward with a subsequent variance application.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions? All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
We have someone signed up to speak.
Yes, we have one person to sign up, Mr. John Hester.
Thank you, Commissioner. To get something displayed there, do I give it to her or you copies? I made copies for each of you.
You can give it to Mr.
Give them to
Wheeler.
Chris and you'll give them to us.
We want that one first, then that one. Oh, I had copies for each of them. They are. Hey, take a bunch. Take a bunch of them.
whole packet, each 2 packets.
We each get a packet.
Okay.
I wasn't sure. I had inquired about what audio visual you had here, and I didn't get an answer. But I'm John Hester of 2070 and 2076 and 2066 Brookview Drive. And my family's been in Rockdale County since the end of the Civil War. I think we're the Kellys, the Ponders, Merida Hester. Slave owner John Ponder was my great-great-great-great-great-grandfather. And Gina Kelly, or James Kelly, was a great-great-great-great-grandfather on the other side after the Civil War, with the family was sharecroppers at that corner. If you've been in Conyers 30 years, you probably remember the bovine at G's Mill in Old Covenant Road when it was a farm. That was my family after the Civil War up until the 60s, 70s. My family was sharecroppers there. And a lot of it started then because my family were victims of the Shady Grove community where Buchanan was allowed to build those subpar houses. And, because it was a black community. He was allowed to do so from, this board and planning. And my grandmother was that lady arrested 1968 when they came to protest because planning wouldn't do anything. So what, you have 4 boards in your entire house floor, it squeaks. It wouldn't do anything for the black community back then. But that was my grandmother, Jessie Mae Kelly, at the corner of G's Mill and Old Covenant Road when the Conyers police in Rockdale County was preventing the blacks from driving to downtown Depot to pick up their lumber to fix their houses. That was my grandmother holding that car tire that got beat and thrown over there by the bovine. And then also, and she was the one that got the covered wagon that event, since they wouldn't let them drive. She was the one that got the covered wagon from Covington and went down there and picked up the whole community's bricks for their foundations. And she was also one that used that same wagon to drop those hundreds of pounds of gravel right there because that there used to be a slant coming off of G's Mill. She was the one, her and Jake Kelly, my grandfather, were the ones that dumped all that gravel there before they paved the road to Shady Grove. Because the constant comment from this floor was, you all won't be there long enough. Those were the times. That's what my family endured, and that's what, you look at Shady Grove. Conyers wouldn't allow that. It got allowed then of a black community, and so we're gonna come up here next about getting rid of Buchanan that built it, and it's Shady Grove. It's the community, and I've never heard anyone refer to it as Buchanan. But being that adversarial from this board and planning from our community, we've been attacked. And I say that because, would you go to the first slide? But in that first one, what's circled up there is where we were told, because in 1998, there were 300-foot buffer, for our community. And there was no notice. There was nothing done. We found out that our bordering properties had been annexed to the city. At the time it was annexed to the city, in here we were told you have a 300-foot buffer. And we rested on that. We believed that. We trusted that. And even then, just like him, I told him he was a lie about some stuff in that meeting because 75, or at the time 150 feet didn't exist. We took string up there. It was 68 feet. Where are you getting a 150-foot buffer? So now he's trying to fix some of those lies because we're going to catch him in all of them, which means we shouldn't do anything for giving the lies to this community, the discrimination, the attack on this community. Nothing should move till he fix all that. Say, oh yeah, we're gonna fix. We're gonna no. It's got. When I spent $68,000 redoing that house, when the pandemic started, I had to have. They didn't let me go with Jack. I had to get lawyers to fill out applications. No, you can't fix that house. It should apply to the newcomers too, as opposed to the ones who built the community. And from starters, we were told there'd be a 300-foot buffer. And what they did was they rezoned. The city put the note. They rezoned it to the city. The city put the notice on the other side of G's Mill Road. In other words, nobody from the city community knew it. So they annexed it to the city, who rezoned it, noticed over there where no one knew it. It was up in, most people hadn't even driven up through there now for 20 years. It's been an office park. But that's where it was at up in there. How we found out is in one of these pictures, you see a cracked up driveway. The properties were so close, the 18-wheeler with the excavators came up our driveway. And the only person at home was 82-year-old Johnny Mae Giles, who these big construction men jumped out, surrounded, and told her that we're going to damage your house if we try to back out of here. We're going to damage your house. And she sat there scared and crying. And when she called, she was scared and crying at these dudes. But they came into that property from the Brookview side. And some of those pictures will show you, I grew up, my grandparents lived here. We moved to Atlanta for a while. My sister had cancer and we were staying in Grady Homes, that's downtown. So my younger years were downtown, and I used to love Sunday when we came to church at Shady Grove, because it meant back then, once you passed Glenwood, it was nothing but trees. And I just sat in the back of that station wagon. They were like, that boy didn't talk, do we? We live in Grady Homes. I'm surrounded by lights 24 hours a day. I love these trees. All the way out to 138. And I don't know if you remember that. That was a time, Old Covenant Road before Golden State, those trees were a canopy. It was so dark when the automatic headlights came out, your headlights came on at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It was a different temperature up under that canopy from 138 all the way. There was a short break where the bovines were at G's Mill, and then it was a canopy of trees that would make your headlights come on. If any of you been here over 35 years and remember that, but that was the Conyers I moved back to. It was a drive out here to see my grandmother that after I got out of the military, I was for the first time going to see my grandmother. When I turned off that road and saw that dark tunnel going down toward G's Mill, and I was once again gonna finally get to see the bovines again. And I said, that's it. My brothers can have the house downtown. Now it's over $500,000 bucks. But I said, you can have it. at the time, give me that $3,000 house out there in Conyers, so my daily drive is in a canopy of trees coming out here. And grew up lifeguarding at Costly Mill, and kind of hate what happened there, but next meeting, I'm gonna add a picture of me sitting up on that waterfall as a lifeguard and riding one of those bovines when I was 6 or 7. But that was the Conyers I moved into, that my family had been in over 100 years, that we built that community. That little slant off G's Mill, my grandfather did that with a backhoe, because when it was straight, it flooded the businesses, and the county wouldn't fix it, so they got a backhoe. He made the little swoop there so that the water would run off. And even now, the trenches that you see, and up in the woods, the old playground, my grandfather did that when the county wouldn't. We built a lot of that with our money, our resources, and our families. And to think that I came right in here and told there'll be 300 feet between, 20-something years ago, it'll be 300 feet between your house and a building, right here. At the planning map at the time, they were redoing the maps because of the annexation. I was up there every day for like 2 weeks. No one in that planning office, because at the time they were doing the maps in probate for some reason. Probate had the software doing the maps, and I was there every day. Never told me. All I knew was they were showing me my house and an empty space. I said, shouldn't it be green? There's trees been there for thousands of years. And nobody said a word. I got a call at work. There's a bulldozer. You need to move your car. Huh? They came up. It was so close. They came up the wrong side through our properties to crash into the woods to build Strictly Mechanical. Is how it got built. I mean, every time we dealt with this office and planning and people wanting to build, and he still didn't say what they're going to do. Is it a grocery store? Is it a rodeo? What?
Sir, your time is up. The clock went off.
But you all should forgive me, but it's all right here. It is. It all right here. That's what they showed my grandmother.
Right.
And that's what they built. That's what they showed my mother. That's what they built.
Right.
That's what they showed me. And there it is, 300 feet from the house supposedly.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, I've looked through. Thank you.
And we have a water pump where they're building.
Now, at this time, we'll hear from the applicant, please.
Thank you for the chance for rebuttal.
I just want to let you know, Ms. Brock, you have like 10 seconds left.
I have 10 seconds. Okay, I'll make this quick. Two quick points. One, I take exception of being called a liar. We've been truthful through this whole process. We initiated a community meeting on our own. The second is Mr. Hester's concerns dealt with a development that occurred over 20 years ago. It has no bearing on what is here tonight. His property is north of our property across from Old Covington Road. I cannot answer anything that occurred between him and the city of Conyers at that time. We had nothing to do with that. Thank you.
I have a couple of questions.
Yes.
You said that your structure would be hidden behind some other structures.
That's correct. If you can go back to the my colored site plan. There's existing development along.
I saw the listing of those. I'm trying to get a feel because I know that the traffic is kind of bad on Salem. So I was trying to get a feel for what the other structures are that are hiding yours. And you said you had a traffic study, so you know about the number of trucks.
That's correct.
So I wanted to know those two things.
Okay, I'll hit those one at a time. As you can see on the site plan that's pulled up now, to the north is the Lone Star Transportation truck development. That's the large open area.
That's 160 Salem Road. Okay.
I believe so.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then to the right-hand side of the plan that's on the screen now, there is a Chevron gas station.
Okay.
as well as 2 vacant lots now, but those were bought by Lincoln Trucking last year, and it's planned to be developed as a commercial garage and truck storage. And as you can see from the site design, we do have long driveways from both North Salem as well as Old Covington, so it is tucked back behind other properties. That's what I was stating, that the visibility is limited.
And what about the number of trucks you said you know about?
Oh, the traffic study, and that should be in your packet, or
Yes, I saw that.
and it's lengthy. I know it's over 100 pages. But the daily trips, the total daily trips, both employee as well as truck, is 280 vehicles, which, I'm sure this body is aware of other developments. If you look at a McDonald's or even a bank with a drive-through, that is exceedingly low compared to other commercial uses. One thing that I would like to just emphasize is our truck traffic is going out to North Salem to I-20, and the traffic impact study notes that 70% of our traffic is heading that way. Only 30% that's likely to be employees are heading the other way on Old Covington.
See, I-20 gets backed up there too. That's why I was asking that question, because when you're going on the entrance ramp to 20, depending on what time of day it is, that can be backed up too. But okay, and your community meeting that you had, you said there were about 15 people there, but only one person was a little bit against this. Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, there's 2 people that primarily spoke at that meeting. Mr. Hester was one of those. We did speak to a number of individuals after the meeting. We had reserved a conference room at a hotel off of 138 to facilitate the meeting. After that meeting, we did speak with individuals that live along Shady Lane, as well as Mr. Fallon with Alliance Industrial did go knock on doors and speak to those individuals before we submitted our application.
I see. Okay.
Any anticipation of what type of tenant for the major?
This is a spec warehouse. Frank Fallon with with Alliance Industrial can give a little bit more insight into what they foresee as a tenant.
Thank you. So the typical type of tenant would go in this facility. It's what we call a rear load facility. So most of the
what facility?
A rear load facility, because
okay.
the loading for the trucks is on the back side of the property. We have that facing the rail line, the CSX rail line. So it's a heavier office finish though on the front. As you can see from the photos that we submitted, it's more of a office storefront. So the type of use though would be, light assembly, last mile e-commerce facility. So servicing members of the community when they order stuff online. Home goods storage, just general distribution and storage.
Okay, thank you.
He's lying and I can prove it.
Sir, please. You know where you had your time. Thank you.
I have
Yes,
a
ma'am.
question, and this kind of correlates with Mr. Hester's, and of course I do understand that you have nothing to do with what happened 20 or so years, but I am concerned about the development and the growth of Rockdale County. So if at some point these properties had 300 or so foot buffers in between the properties, and now you're saying that you may seek a variance for even less than what we indicated here, that might be a concern for the community in general.
I'm not certain where Mr. Hester got the 300-foot buffer. In the current UDC, or the current Code of Ordinances, it is a 75-foot buffer adjacent to residential properties, which we are seeking to comply with as much as we can. But as you can see on this property, on this plan to the top left, we have a road going out to Old Covington. That is bordered on either side by R1 properties. It's approximately an 80-foot wide path. So we will have to go through there and grade to have that access, and that's where we're anticipating the encroachment.
So you're saying that on that road, right there where it intersects the main road, you're going to actually be adjacent to a residential area?
It's the Shady Grove Baptist Church is on to the right of that driveway. It's a small triangular property. On the other side of that are vacant R1 lots. And we've spoken with the pastor of Shady Grove Baptist Church and informed him of our intentions. And he is the one that has signed the letter of support. He wanted to be here tonight, but he's currently out of town.
So how close are you to the residential, oh, I have.
Yeah, we have, we have a copy, thank you,
How
Chris.
close are you to the residential area?
The closest point from our building to the nearest residential lot, which is again a vacant lot,
Okay.
is approximately 90 feet.
But he keeps mentioning Shady Grove
Hey,
Church on the right.
please,
There's a
sir,
house on the
sir,
left.
sir, it's not, you had time to speak. Thank you.
So our intent is to also, with whatever disturbance we have within that buffer, to replan it with landscaping as well as much as we can to buffer those properties against sound or visual impacts.
It's not possible.
Okay.
I think my only concern about that is, if you're saying you're 90 feet or so as far as the buffer, the truck is it 53 footers? Is that right? I mean, that's not much, and I know you're saying that currently it's vacant land. If it's vacant land currently, but if it's zoned single-family residential, then aren't you kind of creating an issue for?
It's also a landlocked parcel. It's along Clark Road, which is not an open right-of-way, so it's unimproved at this point. Alliance actually tried to purchase those parcels as part of its development.
And
It just,
We were under contract on those parcels, and there was actually title issues with the seller, so we had to drop them. There was internal dispute with family members, so we couldn't purchase it.
So how do you know if you don't know who your tenants would be? How do you know how many vehicles you're gonna have coming out of there? How do you know?
the engineers know what is typical for this type of facility and how many trucks to anticipate.
It's a worst-case scenario, right? That's assuming there's employee parking on all those spots and there's trucks at every single door, so that's a worst-case scenario.
I'm curious as to, when you had the meeting, you said there was 15 or 20 persons. Do you recall the commentary that I know you said you spoke with some others, but he's saying that there was negative commentary. You're saying that there was maybe more neutral, but I'm just curious as to, because I guess I'm just saying you're bordering a single-family residential lot, and you're saying that you're trying to reduce the buffer even more, and then you're only having 90 feet to the nearest single-family residential lot.
And that's the closest point from our development to the nearest corner of the nearest lot. I mean, it's well over that to the closest house or yard. Do you remember the individual on Shady Lane?
I don't recall their name, but we could go to the sign-in sheet and recall their name. But they live adjacent. If you see on the site plan, the two houses where it's a little bit clear where there aren't trees. I spoke with the family and talked about the use and what we're proposing, and they just had questions. They didn't say they're in favor or opposition either way. They just had questions about the use and development.
What would you do if you didn't get a variance on the buffer? What was your game plan for that?
If we can't get the buffer, then we lose access, the right in, right out access, which will be designated for autos. The truck traffic's coming off the left. Then more traffic's going to be directed to I-20 into that entrance, and we would have to. And the reason why we engaged with the pastor to see what he needed in order to get help on the project. And so we're working with him to bring potential sewer to his property or dedicate some land to him. But to answer your question, we wouldn't be able to build that secondary entrance to divert traffic.
Yeah, that's primarily the employee traffic entrance from Old Covington. They would have to come in off the North Salem Road entrance with the truck traffic.
The goal is to try to separate truck and auto traffic as much as possible.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're now in in discussion? Are there motions?
My concern is, I mean, I am concerned about the fact that if the community at some point had, in the same way that we addressed it from the prior, from the prior, we had a lot more presentation or representation then, and they were concerned about the quiet community. This gentleman's also been there over 100 years. His family's been there. He's been a part of the community. I think that we also should take strong consideration for the fact that if he believes that at some point it was a much larger buffer, they're specifically stating that they're even concerned about reducing the buffer. That's a concern for me.
It also pains me that, and I kind of understand that the city, the county, or whoever had promises some time ago that were just not honored. And even though we can't speak to that, we know that that happened. And I don't know that it happened in this case, but we know that that happened during that time. And to rehash something and not to rehash that, I think is traumatic.
I think it'd be important for us to have some history, more history,
Right.
to make a better recommendation.
I can't recommend to approve this at this point. I can't move forward.
I'm concerned with the presentation of this type of facility comes to us all the time.
Right.
Why are there so many conditions? I mean, we see these warehouses all the time. Was it not done to a certain plan that made so many conditions proposed? I don't know. But anyway, I've got reservations because of the history, and I'd like for some more clarification before I feel comfortable voting yea.
Absolutely.
All right, so based on that, do we have a motion?
I move, Mr. Chair, that we deny at this point the rezoning case number 2023-05 to rezone 19771 acres from R1 to M1 Limited Industrial District and M1 for general warehousing.
Okay. Second? Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, moving on to item R4. An ordinance to amend section 206-8 RM Residential Multifamily District, section 206-7 MR Mixed Residential Use, section 106 Definitions, section 218-1 Table of Permitted Uses, section 218 Standards of Use and Development, and section 238-4 Amendments to comply with zoning procedure law per House Bill 1405 in facilitation of more expansive housing options.
Giving planning commissioners, again, as the chairman stated, that this this ordinance is in relation to the House Bill 1405 that was passed and signed into legislation in the last Georgia session in 2022. Again, the ordinance amendment requires that Rockdale County updates their zoning procedure laws for consideration of multi-housing, family, and R1 zoning districts. So again, before you in your packet, again, it's just a detail of amendments to the housing procedure law as far as notifications, when we send items out, when we notify, and things of that nature as well. So myself and Director Holst are available to speak about it as well.
Well, I think you totally not understanding House Bill 1405, which I read a couple of times. It sounds like the county's giddy that it promotes multifamily housing which it doesn't really if you read through it. Which
We're
a lot
not
of-
stating it promotes, we're saying
Well,
considering
okay,
multi-family housing.
Whereas multifamily development can expand the inventory of affordable housing, therefore contributing to more desirable jobs, housing balance that yields housing options available to households of modest means or households simply seeking alternative housing options within Rockdale County. That's not what House Bill 1405 talks about. As a matter of fact, it puts restrictions on if you're changing R1 to multifamily housing. It puts restrictions on more, you're required to have more zoning meetings, which is curiously not in this text amendment. For example, establishment of any multifamily dwelling in an R1 single-family residential district requires more meetings.
What line is that?
Okay, I'm looking at the bill here, okay. Such, let's see, okay. Well, here's, this, page 137, okay.
The actual bill, what line number is it?
Yeah, I don't know what line it is, let's see. Okay. Such, okay. For property owners to deviate from the existing zoning requirements of single-family zoning, such zoning decisions must be adopted at 2 regular local government meetings that are at least 21 days apart. Before the first meeting, at least 2 public hearings must be held at least 3 months and not more than 9 months prior to the date of the final action zoning decision. At least one of the public hearings must be held between 5 and 8 p.m. It requires more hearings. This is not a House bill to promote necessarily multifamily housing. And why Rockdale County would even, say that in the text amendment, that's not accurate.
Do you want to
But
suggest we change that?
as a separate thing, I want to point out that people don't want this, the planners want more multifamily housing. The citizens do not. And I'll point out Pew Research. More Americans now say they prefer a community with big houses, even if local amenities are farther away. Okay.
Sorry, Commissioner Wise, I'm sorry. What do you mean by planners? You mean specifically the planning group or
Planners in general, if you read articles on planners,
Okay.
in general. I'm not referring to a specific planner.
Okay.
Planners, okay. Today, 6 in 10 U.S. adults say they would prefer to live in a community with larger homes. And this goes across all races, blacks, whites, Hispanics. But, I have a bunch of things, but I don't need to go over all these things. So I want to point out just that. But I can't approve this text amendment myself because I don't think it reflects. It's done because of House Bill 1405. It doesn't reflect the meaning of House Bill 1405.
I concur with that. I was confused. I did not have time to pull House Bill 1405, so I did not read it. But the text in the bill, and I went to, to some of my colleagues earlier before the meeting started because it was confusing. And I said, this is confusing. So I don't have enough information to vote on this either.
It calls in section 1 for the UDO to be further amended to allow triplexes and quadplexes. Is Rockdale County ready for quadplexes? I mean, do we have a choice? Or does 1405, I couldn't find it. Does 1405 say, yes, you must allow quadplexes?
You have to consider it.
We're basically taking more.
They say we have to consider it. We don't, it's not forcing it.
Yes, it is, actually.
What's give me the line number in the bill?
1405 is basically taking your police powers concerning single-family residential away from you. So essentially what they're saying is, through the special use permit process, you have to consider alternatives to single-family residential, and they've identified those in the code section. In addition, you made those points about the public hearing process actually noted in section 3 of the proposed ordinance. It does talk about specifically what you had mentioned. It's not necessarily something that we concur, but it's something that the state is forcing us to do. If you propose to...
consider, correct?
Yes, through a special use permit process. In addition to that, we still have the comp plan in place that does prescribe densities, and then this doesn't say that they don't have to comply with the densities noted in the comp plan.
But isn't that what we do now? I mean, don't we consider that now?
But not in, you don't consider multifamily residential in the R1 zone currently.
Oh, I got you.
So this is
Yeah, we
basically preempting you by basically saying you have to allow the application of a special use permit to consider these things. That doesn't mean you have to approve it.
Right.
But they have a right to submit the application.
So how would they, if we actually take that under consideration and then just deny everything?
Theoretically, you could, but that could pose threat of litigation.
Then it comes to the point where we are only a recommending body. The BOC could.
That's right. Ultimately, the BOC would be the approving authority.
Which makes me wonder, what's our point sometimes?
Absolutely.
Well, I have an issue with the fourplex idea from another perspective. The issue came because a lot of builders and contractors, they tried to get away with FHA applicability, and FHA only applies if you have multifamily that's 5 residences.
Yeah, I don't have it.
You can get away with it and not have those particular things. So I don't really like that. My understanding is that FHA was going to actually be looking seriously into that, because I think that it was not more of providing housing, it was a way to get around federal rules.
It doesn't?
Yeah. So
No, I didn't mention that.
Necessarily
I
like
don't
the
know.
consideration, we don't even have parameters.
Right, mentioned in the bill.
And
I don't remember.
How do we go by determining whether or not it's, what do they consider consideration?
That's a good point. Again, that would be something that would have to be analyzed through the special use permit process.
If a developer bought something that with quadplexes in it, that's what you're saying, we'd have to consider it if a developer brought it to us.
They have a right to submit a special use permit application. That does not mean Rockdale County Planning Commission or the Board of Commissioners would have to approve it.
Why doesn't it have?
It doesn't indicate that they have to approve it. It's basically saying, we believe that there's a need for additional housing options.
Okay.
And this is the mechanism they've chose to go down that path. But they're not telling you, you have to approve a fourplex, a triplex, or a duplex in the R1 zone. They're saying they can apply for a special use permit, and you have to consider the special use permit. And they've prescribed the process, the public hearing process.
No, they haven't.
It's in the ordinance, in section 3, talks about exactly what you noted, 5 p.m. and 8 p.m. Public
There's
hearings
more.
before the planning commission.
It has the other.
Quasi-judicial body.
Okay. Do they have the other regulations? They're. Do they have, prior to the first meeting provided for subparagraph A, of at least 2 public hearings shall be held on the proposal. Such public hearings shall be held at least 3 months and not more than 9 months prior to the date of final action. And then furthermore, at least one of the public hearings must be held between hours of 5 p.m. and 8 p.m. The hearings required by this paragraph should be in addition to any hearing required under subsection A of this code section. There's more hearing.
Section 5 of our ordinance provides that process.
The months? Right.
The months are in section 3.
Section 3 is...
Minimum 6 months.
Section 3 is the amendment, talks about single-family residential district. Public hearing on the proposed action shall be held by the Conyers Rockdale County Planning Commission. The public hearing required by this subsection shall be held a minimum of 6 months and not more than 9 months prior to the date of the final action.
Okay.
And then it talks about additional, also additional public hearings.
So if we deem that the fourplex is not suitable for single-family residential?
Where
Are
is
there
the
some
floor plan in
liability
there? I don't know
issues?
where it
Like,
is.
for instance, would they come
I
back?
don't know where
the
that
judge would
is.
say, you know, I mean, since we don't have any parameters to really determine whether or not it's good, I mean, what legal liabilities do we have with that?
So I think there's a number of things in planning law. You have the tests that we provide in every staff report. Those would still be applicable because it's through the special use permit process. So you have the special use permit process analysis requirements that are both in our ordinance as well as state. If you determine that you can't meet those requirements, you certainly can recommend that the special use permit be denied.
I guess I don't understand, in single family? So
In the R1
I
zone,
don't
correct.
understand the confusion.
Well, I think the confusion would be if we consistently denied that, would there be a discrimination kind of legality there? To say you're just not really seriously considering this?
Well, I'm not an attorney, but I think there's always a potential for that. I think every single action that you take, there's a threat of potential litigation. I mean, we've already been sued on a case that's been remanded back to the Board of Commissioners, the Weatherstone project. So that's going back to the Board of Commissioners on the 25th because of the lawsuit, and the judge remanded it back to the Board of Commissioners. So, I mean, all actions that you take is potentially
Because there are no
subject to litigation.
guidelines with this, that's why. what makes it
Point
so-
taken.
Yeah, okay. All right, thank you.
So by this act, do you believe it's this House Bill 1405 is made to promote, just give me, is it to promote multifamily housing?
Well, I think that's what the legislature said. What their intent was, I wouldn't,
No,
it wouldn't be my,
No, by House Bill, no, I don't mean the intent, but House Bill 1405, I believe that's what it was meant, that it wasn't,
that's what they're claiming.
right, where they're claiming.
I can't go beyond.
No,
I
no,
don't
I
know.
don't ask you, you know.
I don't want to get in the head of the legislature.
Right, okay.
That's too dangerous a spot to be. Well, I mean, I think, you know, approving the text amendment, all it's going to do is ask that the county consider. And I think we just have to go down the road and whether we'll consider it or not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like we said, we're only a recommending body.
Right. Does the city have I'm just saying, because they're required to do that too.
Y'all haven't addressed it though, have you?
No, sir. We have not addressed House Bill 1405. I don't believe the way that I've read and reread, and our city attorney have asked her to look at it, because the way we're looking at this, we've got to address how advertisements are placed
Right.
for quasi-judicial bodies. The way that we're looking at it now, the Planning Commission is not a quasi-judicial body, because you guys don't make a decision
Right.
for any city items. The quasi-judicial body for the city would be, because they're not elected, would be the Board of Zoning Appeals. The other language in House Bill 1485, I don't necessarily agree with my colleagues from the county and how it's being interpreted, but I would like to wait for our attorney to be able to weigh in on it and give her opinion, because, hey, I've been wrong before and I can be wrong again. But before we take any action and draft any ordinance amendments, we want to be able to dot our I's and cross our T's. I know our attorney has spoken with a very reputable zoning attorney, and the communities that he works in, he's drafted some minor changes, but he's also taking kind of a wait-and-see approach. Yes, the bill has been signed. Thank you, Chris, for sending that to me. But it does not go into effect till July 1. The Georgia Planning Association has not given a formal opinion on the matter yet. So we're kind of waiting to see on that as well.
Has Mr. Bay weighed in on this at all? Yes, sir, and we reached out to a zoning attorney as well, and their recommendation was to go ahead and draft an ordinance and proceed. Yeah, well, they actually drafted it themselves, so.
I didn't see in here, maybe I missed, do you have a thing for halfway houses in here? Did I miss? Okay, that's part of the bill too.
I don't think it is. I don't think everything I don't think all of them were listed individually. I think there was just a selection.
And what's the definition of quasi-judicial? I didn't look it up, but it's got to be.
I know the Board of Zoning, I guess, isn't the Board of Zoning Appeals quasi-judicial?
What's the definition of quasi-judicial?
Well, they're not really, they're not elected officials, I guess, I know.
That's us, we're quasis?
No, they could, no, because the Board of Zoning, I'm not sure, the Board of Zoning Appeals is the final decision maker, okay? I guess that would be quasi. The Board of, they would have to appeal to the Superior Court. We're a recommending body. They're actually a decision body.
Yeah, section 10, item B, the authority of the quasi-judicial officers, boards, and agencies identified in section 2 of this ordinance and appointed by the BOC to exercise delegated quasi-judicial zoning powers, including hearing appeals and administrative decisions for such officers, boards, and agencies, et cetera, et cetera.
That's what we do.
Okay.
No, we make recommendations. We don't have a final, we don't have a final say, like the Board of Zoning Appeals has a final say.
Right.
Right, that's the difference.
Well, I don't like it. I want to put it on the record. I mean, a long time ago, there was a time where you actually had to have an architect, and you'll see homes 30 years or more that everything was individual design. Contractors came, big lobbying system, and they had this system of fast tracking. So that's why we have communities at this point that have 4 or 5 different plans, and they're able to put it there, bypass the architect, make more money off 3 or 4 plans. So as you see, that's development. The same thing is happening here with these quads. FHA only regulates multifamily housing, 5 houses or more. So now contractors are again getting by with doing 4 or less and getting by FHA federal housing. So I think this is another thing that we're going to start seeing, and I don't like it. So I want to put my 2 cents in there. I don't like it.
All right, any other questions, discussions, motions? Not that it matters.
Let me ask one question. So if we have to approve this, why are we voting on it? If the recommendation is that we have to do this because it's a House bill, why does it require us to do anything?
Well, the reason we're voting on this is one, all amendments has to come from. The county has to do something by July 1st, okay? Now, if something is the intent or it's not worded correctly, and that's up to you to decide, you can say, you know, don't believe this is the intent or it is the intent. So regardless, the county and the city is going to have to come up with something, whether they revise this or go with this, they have to have something by July 1st.
Okay, so I'm going to recommend that we decline this in the word format that is in right now, the text amendment case number 2023-01. It's confusing. I think the text need to read a little differently, because if it is aligned with House Bill 1405, it needs to have the, 1405 in here more, so that it's not confusing.
1405 goes beyond what this text amendment.
I understand, but I'm saying we
right,
at least
right,
need to
right.
have,
I
yes,
agree.
the wording makes no
I
sense.
agree.
Okay.
All right.
I'll second that motion.
For a second. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? None opposed. All right. This has some, next one has some relevance. to what we heard earlier. Item R5, a text amendment. By the way, I never got this in my
I didn't either.
packet. That's why I never saw it.
Oh.
That's why I said it was going to come. We never got this.
I apologize. I thought you received
So we're going to
that.
have to, well, we can't vote on it.
I don't have anything else, yeah.
That's why I was confused.
It'll be, we can make this as a Scrivener errors as well, too.
Right,
So
okay.
since you guys didn't, then we'll recommend no action, and then we'll have it
Okay.
come back to have the board make
And
a
I
decision.
apologize, that's why I got confused at the beginning.
So just for future clarification, again, when we do send packets out on that Friday, and somehow if you did not receive anything, please let us know so we can get that information out quickly as possible. Because again, we want to make sure that everything is correct in the packet. So again, please let us know so we can make sure that this happens.
Point well taken, and we should have, and I don't know how I missed that either.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
My error too.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So again, we apologize for the mistake. So we'll make sure to clarify on that. Make sure that doesn't happen next time.
And
Well, wait, I saw it, but I never printed it out because I looked at the sub-item on the agenda.
Yeah.
Just to know that it had to do with the 20 acres to 120 acres was was suspicious to me anyway.
we can get into the details. Since again, if you don't have it, you can't consider it. We'll ask for. We'll
Right.
have it some other time.
Well, all right, the motion, we should have made this before if I known, but, motion
Yes.
to remove this item from the agenda since due to a Scrivener's error.
Are you
Okay.
asking for a motion?
Yeah.
Okay, yes, I move that we take no action, remove 2023-02, the ordinance to amend section 218-13 from the agenda.
I'll second that.
Okay, discuss- all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carried. And I'm sorry, Chris, too, so I missed that. So
Quite all right.
my bad,
Like I said,
too.
it's all right. Like I said, again,
Apologize.
we'll make sure to get correct next time.
Okay, thank you.
We do have any. We don't have any reports.
Any reports?
City Conyers will have 4 items before you next month. 2 rezonings, 1 special use permit, and 1 text amendment.
Would you get those to Chris so that they can come in?
She's not going to be here. You're not going to be here.
Well, maybe Leslie will be here. And
Yeah.
hopefully Ernest. I will not be here next month. Tom will be the. Good luck. Good luck. Good luck.
No. I do want to make one announcement that the Rockdale County is having an open house comprehensive plan May 16th from 6 to 8 at the JP Carr Center. So we encourage everybody to come out and attend. It is an open house, so please come. This is the opportunity for you to, again, to voice your opinion, help the county move in the right direction. We value your opinion, so please do attend.
Well, last time, for the first one, we weren't allowed to speak.
Would you send?
We were in the back audience. We were held out and couldn't have any public comment.
I apologize. I do not. Were you? Anyway, I'll talk to you offline. about that.
Send us an email.
Yes, ma'am. Yep, I'll send an email. Yep, email. So again, please do attend. For those again who watch online, please attend the open house May 16th at the JP Carr Center, 6 to 8.
You're going to be sending out an invite on that?
Yes. So PR will do an announcement as well. We'll make sure we get that out to the public too.
All right. On that note.
Also, I did want to announce, so those who did not watch the BOC meeting this past Tuesday, we do have a new planning director, Miss Juliana Njoku. I'm sorry. She's unable to attend tonight's meeting, but she is our new director, so hopefully she will be able to attend the next meeting and so forth.
Yeah, we looked her up. Very impressive qualifications. So, thank you, Chris. And we have so City of Conyers, none, and Rockdale County, no other reports. The Board of Commissioners meeting will be held on May 25th, as we announced before. And our next meeting is June 8th, 2023. Be here. And we have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And a motion.
I second.
Second. Any discussion? Better not be. Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
No.
Yes, we
motion passes. Yeah.
The best part took me out.